Yo, my guy. Fuck.
Yeah, boy.
Yo.
How's it going, you beautiful man?
I'm just I'm beautiful. I don't get called beautiful very often. That's kind of exciting for me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yo.
How's it going, you beautiful man?
I'm beautiful. I don't get called beautiful very often. That's kind of I got headphones on, so it shouldn't be me. Uh-huh. Yo.
How's it going, you beautiful man?
I'm beautiful. Cool. I don't get called beautiful very often. That's I got headphones on.
So leaving.
Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving because I think a good thing. Those initial ones, like Plus said, if we're gonna be doing free, I'd rather have Ian on to try it for one because I tried it last time. It'd get people used to him early on, than me fucking coming in and then being like, oh, by the way, here's also Ian. I'd rather, because again, he's got the Mixie avatar as well. He's got the bat mic. We're both the fifth dimensional lips. It's good to let him know.
I got this.
He's not a guest. He's the fourth.
I'd rather have Ian on.
I'm the alternate. I'm Alfie's tag team. You know,
get people.
I'm just sitting there on the side of the live stream, like tag me in.
You know how it is? It's like fighters. You know how like fucking 18 has 17 in her combos. It's like if Mixie is fighting, Bat might will start popping out. I'd rather have Ian on.
I'm the alternate. I'm Alfie's tag team. You know, get people. I'm just sitting there on the side of the live stream, like tag me in.
You know how it is? Jesus Christ, man! It's like a cacophony of echoes in your headphones.
Not aware what I was doing. I'm on the wrong scene and fighting Batman Streamlab popping out. Jump over here to the gaming one, which is actually the wrong one, but still the right one. Now just to make sure that everything's still good,
I'm just sitting there on the side of the live stream, like tag me in.
You know how it is? Jesus Christ, man! It's like a cacophony of echoes in your head.
Wait. That's okay. Okay, guys, that took so long for me to figure out. Okay.
Oh
Boom.
no!
Now I'm back.
That's so funny.
That's been figured out. Okay.
Yeah, you know we're like
stream
actually live, right?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know I'm loud. I know we're live. I know
Okay.
I've completely ruined the first part of the stream, but I do nothing professionally. That's the first thing you gotta learn about me. Yo, was the audio good? It was not for a good moment there, but we have it all set now, I believe.
Yeah, Mr. Negative. I wonder if that's the same Mr. Negative from our Discord. Probably is. I don't know.
Also, I can turn Sid's volume up. I'm gonna turn Smug's volume up.
Cool.
So, guys, this is the second of our Just Imagine What If podcast, or What If live stream, we're going to call it. These are supposed to be small weekly times where we get together, hash out a story concept together. Maybe just one of us pitches an idea. We all kind of dig into it, give our own takes on it, what we would do with it, expand on things. We'll even take points where we kind of look at the chat and see what you guys are saying to take some of your concepts and expand on those. But this is mostly supposed to act as a workshop idea for stories that we plan to do or have ongoing at the time. This is one thing we meant to kind of mention last time that was going to really separate this project from Moscow X's, and that his is more about focusing on what the fans are saying and like what they're all doing. We have two ways of doing that very differently. One reason we're going to do that very differently is there just probably aren't going to be as much of you here for that. Moscow is a way bigger channel than all three of us combined, that being me, Smug, and Geeks. And now we have SydPart2 here for this stream. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, our guests for this one as well, since they are not on screen with me. Also, I should definitely get something more interesting to look at on the screen. We'll do this. We'll leave it there. And I will continue to talk to you guys and explain what is going on. Yes, I want to start this account. So the stream will just be what we did last time, but we're going to kind of go back into it. We will not be going back over this storyline that we kind of picked up a bit during the first one. Partly because I realized something after we kind of gotten through it all. One thing, Smug didn't get to talk a lot, even though he was hosting the first one. That was really, really sad. And another thing is, with the way I'd like to do the whole pitch from somebody, I would love to do it where somebody gives their general concept for an idea. Whether we get a bit of recap for that whole concept, if it's an ongoing story or not, is kind of up to them. Whatever they do, however they choose to convey the storyline up till now, whatever they have the idea for. And two other people, or whoever else is there in the call with them, can pitch their own concepts for the idea, their ideas for the idea. Something we did really good was we got the core ideas, the questions, the themes, all that stuff, the main characters. So you give all that stuff to the person who wants to give their pitch. They formulate their ideas as you get done, giving them that stuff. And they give that to you, and we listen to that. We let that happen with Geeks last time with the Saiyan Z Fighters idea that we kind of jumped off of for a bit. Smug almost got to do that. And I remember that I actually ended up telling Geeks what I really liked about his pitch, which actually cut Smug off from doing his own. So one thing I want to really make sure that I'm doing this time is, even though I've been taking the majority of it speaking this entire time, is I will be not quiet, but I will be much more helpful in allowing my partners to pick up the conversation with me. We'll all be very, very talkative. We'll be expanding on different storylines, and that'll just be how we do. But for now, I want to introduce our guest for this one, as we don't have the same lineup last time, because sadly, GeeksForFun is going to have to drop out of this one, but we have set up a system that will allow us to still do these live streams with a substitute. All of us have chosen one. All of us have, went out and picked someone who will represent them, and SydPart2 is GeeksForFun.
Yeah, I'm tagging out. I'm passing the baton all the way from the fifth dimensional to only anyone who's as powerful and strong as me. So have a good one, folks. And as my power drains, finish it. Defeat, cheering for me. And I pass the energy, and it flies across the room.
We can all hope that Sid will be like less cringy than Geeks. We can't be sure, but maybe we get.
Oh no way! I'm gonna be like 10 times more cringy. Like now I'm just tempted to get one of my fedoras and start saying "milady."
Come on, man. Come on. Listen, we can do better than this. Smug, how are you doing tonight, my guy?
Hey man, I don't need an introduction. They know who I am.
Yeah.
No, they don't. There's like.
No, I'm just kidding.
There's like so many people who don't know you. Come on, do it. Let me hear that pretty voice. Say it.
All right. I'm in a bad mood. My back hurts. I'm ready for this. I'm SmugStick. I run the channel SmugStick, and I make videos in my channel SmugStick. That's my intro.
That is exactly what he does. That is a very true way of looking at all the things he's just said. Guys, I think the first thing to do would be get into our first story pitch, which I decided kind of on my own. I didn't actually gauge Smug's idea of doing this. I think it should be his pitch first, because he didn't get to talk as much last time. Also, really quick, I want to gauge you guys on how we sound. Is everything good audio-wise? Anything?
Apparently, I'm a little loud.
You're a little loud? Okay, I can deal with that. I can turn you down to, we'll do 175. I think that works. Or 167, I guess. And you guys just let me know if that's better. Also, I'm trying to keep from showing you the Streamlabs setup. I really should lock this down so it's showing you different things, but I'm too lazy for that. But go ahead, Smug, with your pitch if you would like to start us off.
All right, sure. So this it's a weird one, but I was talking with Alfie last couple of weeks about it. Just playing Battlefront 2, and because what I want to do is like Ian and Alfie have done before. You guys do this sort of thing where this can be canon within the story, type of thing. I
love doing this.
Yeah, it's sick, and I've done it a couple of times. I did it with what if Super Android 17 was in Dragon Ball Super. That one was a lot of fun. But I wanted to do another one. And what we ended up talking about was an idea. It started off as a joke, but I think the title we said it was Crisis on Infinite Trunks. It doesn't really make sense as a title compared to the actual story, but what I have in mind so far is Goten, Trunks, they're playing around in Android 17's island, doing whatever they do. Then the time machine crashes down on Earth, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Future Trunks, our guy!" So they go up to it, and they're like, "Oh, but I guess he didn't land right. Let's see who's inside." And they open it, and it is Trunks, but this Trunks has purple hair, not blue. And they're like, "Oh, that's different. He dyed his hair." But the Trunks is like really hurt. He looks up to them, and he says, "Get Goku and Vegeta. I need their help." But Goten and Trunks are basically like, "Nah, we can handle it." So they get in the time machine, and they press something by accident, and they return back to where this Future Trunks came from. And it's a desolated world. It's Earth. It's just completely empty. The only thing that's around is like the broken pieces of the Cell games. And in the distance, they see another Trunks. This Trunks has long hair, the Saiyan armor, and he has a hole on his chest where Cell would have shot him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, it's another Trunks. Let's go talk to him." So they start going towards him, but the Trunks that came with them in the time machine stops them, and he's like, "Hold on, do not get any closer." And they see that this long-haired Future Trunks slowly turns around, and he has a scar across his face, and the hole in his chest is like healed up. Mm-hmm. And they are instantly like, "Oh my God, this is very creepy. This is very strange." And he's also carrying a bag with something. So Trunks tells them to just get in the time machine, and he'll explain everything. So basically, that's the beginning of it. That I have like a rough idea of.
Okay. So the thing I'm hearing here, or the implication I'm getting, is the long-haired Trunks might help to like give these guys names. So like Kid Trunks. Your purple-haired Trunks would be like Future Trunks, normal Future Trunks.
That one is actually the implication for that one is that he is Time Patroller Trunks.
Okay, so Time Patroller Trunks, Kid Trunks, and then the long-hair one would like, I'm getting the implication that he's like a villain or something, or
right.
The villain of the arc. But what's your idea for what exactly like is going on with him, or do you just have like the cool idea of Trunks somehow becoming a villain due to time travel shenanigans?
Right, so basically this Trunks didn't get killed by Cell. He got shot in the chest, but he survived. And this is a Trunks from a world where Cell wins the Cell games. He defeats all the Z fighters, and instead, like, just to like show off, he leaves Trunks as the lone survivor in this doomed planet.
Mm-hmm.
And basically Trunks just goes kind of crazy and resentful and everything. And if Cell left to wherever other worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And now this Trunks is going around to different points in time or different realities, depending on how you want time travel to work in this instance. And just defeating other Z fighters, kind of like, "Oh, why did you leave me alone? How did we not save Earth?" and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, that's an interesting motivation. I think the thing I'd try to spend the most time on with that would be like lingering on like what exactly his goal is, because I don't know, it's funny because there's some kind of like hate in the fandom toward Kid Trunks, and there's a lot of like love for Future Trunks all the time, right? And so the funny thing is, though, Kid Trunks is a bit more, frankly, brave than Future Trunks, maybe because he hasn't had as many bad experiences or whatever. But like the thing that jumps into my mind as I'm thinking about this is when Future Trunks realizes that his third grade Super Saiyan is useless against Perfect Cell, he just like stops and sits there. He's like, just kill me. I can't see another world break.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you'd have to go somewhere with that. Like, did you ever watch the thing that's come to mind for me is there's an episode of Batman the Animated Series where it's like the second or third time they brought back Mr. Freeze, and this was like after his wife had like left him because she saw what he became, and he just decided, all right, no one gets to have happiness anymore because I don't get to have happiness. So he just like has become just a monster. It's like a really great scene where this artist has this huge painting that he spent years on, and Mr. Freeze looks at it, he's like, the technique is marvelous. How long did it take you to perfect? Decades? A lifetime? Please, I'm too old, I can never paint another. Pity. And then he just like blasts the painting.
Oh,
so I'm trying to imagine something like that, but with like this version of Trunks who's just like, just depression Trunks.
Right. That's yeah, that's a good way to put it. For like nobody else can have happiness if I couldn't have any. That's a I think definitely developing this Trunks should be one of the biggest things that I focus on.
Yeah, so like if he's seen the worst thing, like because Future Trunks went back in time to try to, like, even though he knew there was the possibility that, like, he wouldn't be able to change his future by going back in time, he went back in time to try to create at least one good timeline. And to see that fail, too, through the actions of, the Z Fighters and the actions of his father, and to see that all fail with Cell winning the Cell games, and then just kind of, like, leaving him to be... like deciding instead of blowing up the world or blowing up the solar system, Cell is just going to kill everybody on Earth and just leave Trunks stranded there. I think that's a really dark place. And so you just say, like, Trunks has just been stuck on this, desolate world that Cell left him for like a decade or however long. And then you can play with the idea of like, just by happenstance, kind of on that Super Broly level, by happenstance, Time Patrol Trunks showed up one day, and now evil Future Trunks is going around and like, my world failed, my future failed, the future I tried to save failed. No one gets to have a future now. Right. It's better if there's just no future for anyone.
That's great, actually, and I think seeing this Kid Trunks and seeing Time Patroller Trunks would only exacerbate that.
Mm-hmm.
But being like, oh, you guys get a happy ending. Why don't I? So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, or some more like along the lines of, I think the motivation should be more like, no, you don't understand. You'll ruin the future too. I'm just gonna do it for you and spare people the suffering. The idea that, like, I'll just be merciful about how your future gets destroyed. I won't let some maniac do it. I'm just gonna do it quick and painless.
Right, yeah.
Which would be interesting for a Dragon Ball villain, because Dragon Ball villains have a tendency to, like, drag stuff out. So I guess with that, what would be a good place to like, put it timeline-wise, since you talked about it, wanting it to fit in continuity?
I was thinking either right before the Moro arc, or, I mean, I guess we don't know what happens afterwards, so there's no really room for there.
Well, I guess my temptation, I think, would be to put it around the time of the Goku Black arc, because then he's kind of got, a point, especially because then you could have Zeno Trunks, Kid Trunks, Evil Future Trunks, and then Goku Black Arc Trunks in the same story. And, like, before you got to the reveal in your initial pitch about, like, this Evil Future Trunks, I was kind of like, immediately the wheels were spinning in my head. I'm like, alright, so you got Kid Trunks and Goten there, and they know fusion. I don't know if Zeno Trunks does or not. I'm tempted to just say, like, if there's a way to make it so he doesn't, it'd be cool, because then you could do, like, Zeno Trunks and Goku Black Arc Trunks have to learn fusion from Kid Trunks.
That'd be kind of sick, actually. because like, that would totally be the explanation of how he learns fusion. Because I think he does. I just don't know how he does. So that could make sense. I also had this idea that this future Trunks, this evil future Trunks, is really, really powerful. So what they have to do is they have to go around and to other timelines and collect other future Trunks to help them out. So that's why I kind of wanted to do it sometime around after the Tournament of Power, because I had this idea that they could end up where future Trunks, Goku Black's future Trunks ended up, in the new timeline with 2 sets of Trunkses and 2 sets of Mai's.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's probably a better reason. I mean, I guess because Goten and Trunks are just like on the island during the Tournament of Power, so like you could maybe set it during the tournament, which would help to because you already got like time travel wibbly wobbliness, so you can have it all take place literally during the 48 minutes of the Tournament of Power, and like they just poof off the island and then come back 48 minutes later after like this epic adventure that took like weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I might do that.
Because then you don't have to justify why Goku and Vegeta, and like that's the thing is like when I did the aliens in Dragon Ball Super video, like even though I spent like time in the video explaining where a lot of the key players were, there were still like comments like, why didn't this guy show up? Why didn't this guy show up? and so like this would give you a baked-in reason to why the big players of the team didn't show up. And it's also kind of interesting because if you say it during the actual events of the tournament, you've got like Goten and Kid Trunks, excluded from the tournament because they're too young, they lack experience, they don't take stuff seriously. So you could make the arc here them getting experience, them learning to take stuff more seriously.
Yeah, I like that idea. Hold on, let me just post the link to the stream on my Discord.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, please do that.
Sorry, I forgot about that. There you go. What was I talking about? Yeah, I think that's a good place to put it. I also had this idea. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Thanks for popping up. Just like Sam, my fiance. I don't know if she's still in the chat, but she was a second ago. I love you, but
that's so
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing just the future Trunks arc. This would be like the third one kind of thing.
Right.
The name Crisis on Infinite Trunks is pretty good. I really do like that. Get as many of them in there as you possibly can. It'd be funny because you could even like when you're doing the editing, you could even do like the like fighters or whatever, if you do 2 of the same character, they switch the color palette for the clothes.
Oh.
You can do that for some of your visualization in the video.
That'd be pretty funny. There's what was there? There is okay. I had this other idea as well for it, but I'm not too sure about it because I already see like comparisons to like Cable from the X-Men, and sure that makes sense. But I was talking to my friend Professor Chimp. He helps me write videos sometimes. I'm sorry if you can hear stuff in the background, but
your audio is actually really good right now.
Okay, good. Shit, what was it? So basically, like through the story, you find out that this evil future Trunks has like a bag with him at all times. And eventually, like they hear cryings coming from it. Somehow Trunks gets it, little Trunks, and they look inside, and I was like, oh my god, it's a little baby, and everybody thinks it's Kid Trunks, it's baby Trunks from the Cell arc because he has the little hat and stuff, right? But eventually, like towards the end, you find out that it's actually Goten. That somehow this future Trunks, the only person he was able to save from his world was the newly born member of the Stone family. And he's just being hanging out with them this entire time, going crazy and stuff. I'm not entirely sure about this concept, but I think it would be pretty cool, especially for the reveal at the end of that it's actually Goten.
Yeah, I'm just because like the theory is it's necessary that Goten is conceived before Cell, kills before Goku dies fighting Cell. So that definitely works. That you don't really have to justify why Goten is there, especially if Cell pulled his Zamasu and just kind of took his time killing off the planet for fun, which, again, I think that's pretty justifiable considering that's what the androids were doing anyway. And if you just have this evil Trunks kind of have the same backstory that Goku Black Saga Trunks did, where he's like the last fighter left, and Cell just keeps leaving him alive, and it just kind of made this, like, that's your justification for what made Trunks just go crazy, as he just kept trying to fight Cell even though he knew he stood no chance, and just kept getting thrashed. So there's your explanation for how he gets a bit stronger. I think that's all got a lot of good potential to it. Like, even especially if you have like if you have built in with the backstory that like Cell did still fight Gohan, maybe he won the Kamehameha struggle,
right.
Or instead of... Okay, what if this is the change? Just to make it a little bit cleaner. Because I know you were talking about, like, Trunks having the scar from getting shot through the chest by Cell, but, like, this might just make things a little bit easier and cleaner. What if the first thing Super Perfect Cell did when he came back, when he used instant teleportation... or instant transmission, is he shot Gohan instead of Trunks, and that's the difference. So Gohan dies, no one's able to defeat Cell. Cell just bum rushes through the Z Fighters, all of them die. Maybe you have this evil Trunks was just so blown away, like just shocked by it that he was the only one who didn't fight. Kind of have that like Vegeta staring on the sidelines, very Broly thing. And maybe that's the change you make. So like I know it eliminates your scar thing that you were talking about. That might just help make things like a little more clean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might actually work. Yeah, because it could have been anyone that died. So, since he just shot, regardless of who it was gonna hit.
Yeah, exactly. So just Super Perfect Cell shows back up, and just the first thing he does is make more of a tactical decision and kill Gohan. And then you just have Super Perfect Cell with a bag of sensu beans, right? And he's just going around doing what 17 and 18 did in Trunks' original timeline. And every time Trunks shows up to fight him, he gets his ass beat, and Cell gives him a sensu bean just to, like, rub some dirt in it. So that's how you explain how Trunks got, like, this strong, even though there's nothing left on the world. It's just, he got, like, Perfect Cell just grinded him. I don't know, Plus, like, you've been quieter, but, like, what are you thinking of all this?
Oh, yeah, far? Well, I had to be for this one. Listen, I talked almost throughout the entirety of the last one, to where, like, Smug and Geeks had, like, maybe 17% of the talking time. Yeah. I like what you guys went through in, like, your first bits of it. I think that's, like, really, really good, strong groundwork. I also see Smug is probably about to go in and edit a few of the things I put here.
I'm actually gonna show the piece of art. I showed you, right?
Yeah, you showed me. I was also gonna say that. Here's gonna be a new rule for these. There will probably be times when we have, like, pieces of concept art, like anything like that. It will be completely up to whoever is pitching their idea, their story, if they want to show that or not. Because you don't know if that's gonna be a spoiler or anything like that. If it's been shown to one of us who is, like, in the call with them, I'd also put it on you to be like, hey, just don't like spoil whatever. Like, don't be like, oh, I know the story he's talking about, so take their art and like post it for him. I wouldn't.
Yeah, right. Don't go posting this art around.
Yeah. But the other thing about that is, a good thing that Geek said with these is that we'll have the opportunity to talk about these with a smaller audience that will be nowhere near the same size of the audience that will watch the entirety of the actual part that comes out. So you guys who come to these are very, very exclusive. You guys who come to these are very, very special to us because there aren't a lot of fans who just jump into anything we make out. There's a lot of fans who are just like core fans who just love what we do and they come out to support. We really do appreciate that so much.
100%.
Here, let me.
But as Smug does that, I can go over my pitch for the idea of what I have so far. Yeah. There it is.
I didn't know that this is showing up. Do you see it again?
My boy.
You get the reference, right? Like, it makes sense with the title.
My boy Cobbs is playing with it.
Dang,
I gotta lock him down. I gotta wipe him up. I gotta put a ring on his finger. But listen. So yeah, like I was saying, you guys came up with some really, really good groundwork for that. It's also part of why I didn't like say anything. I thought that was like really, really good without me. One thing I had the idea of with doing this is Cell is not being utilized to his full potential with this type of story, I think, because what you could do with this is you guys already touched on it. The change in Cell is what elicits the change in Trunks. That's very, very true. That's the best way to think about that. Perfect avenue you guys are taking so far. The thing with that is, I don't know if we have a Cell that is going to be pushing Trunks to where he should be evil out at the end of this timeline. We're pushing Trunks into a place where he should be distressed, he should be hurt, he should be, at a level where he can make very, very serious character changes. But I don't know if we're pushing him to a place where it's, change the dial. I think what needs to happen with this, Cell needs to be Trunks' evil master in a very it's not something he sets out to do, but it is something that he will take a small amount of pleasure in. I think there are ways you can explain that as well. Cell has the genes of Saiyans, he has the genes of Frieza, he has the genes of King Cold, I believe. He has genes of people who kind of like to have somebody subjugated under him. So there's that whole thing of dominion and submission and somebody being the dominant over the submissive. Beyond that, Cell is sadistic. I hate it. He just is. He beat Gohan. He beat Gohan's friends and family in front of Gohan to elicit the Super Saiyan 2 change out of him just to get the good fight he wanted. Cell is very, very sadistic. So I don't think it's a very hard change to do the whole, Jim Gordon, we're going to take you through this roller coaster butt naked and show you your one bad day. I don't think it's that hard to make him do something like that when you think of the idea of, Cell likes to put people through emotional distress, even in the series. What you do, go exactly with the idea of what if the first thing Cell did when he came back was go Gohan instead of Trunks. Cell shouldn't like Gohan, like at all. They're very, very diametrically opposed. They don't think of they're like, you're not a means to an end to me. You don't like fighting. There's no part of violence that you really get a kick out of. You don't fight because you feel a need to. You fight because you feel like, obligations from others to. There should be a lot of like diametrical opposition between Cell and Gohan. Cell and Trunks is kind of different. Cell and Trunks have something very similar to each other in that they've both been trapped in a timeline with like no fucking hope. I hate to cuss about that, but I think that's something that these two characters do kind of understand with each other. So if you have that idea of Cell comes back, the person he's mad at is Gohan. Gohan's powered down, he's not paying attention, boom, hole through the chest, you're done. Goes on his rampage, maybe he has another meeting with Trunks, maybe Trunks gets his final rage boost and is able to give Cell somewhat of a fight, something of a challenge. Maybe it's not Super Saiyan 2 fully, maybe it's wide-eyed grade 4 where he's just really raging out and he's just the thing that
I would actually argue that Super Saiyan 2 Trunks could be really interesting in that moment.
It definitely could, especially if you're going with the idea of building up this like really super strong one. I'm trying to think of doing one that wouldn't be, let me just do what Gohan did, but I'm evil.
No, I get you. What I'm saying is that like Super Saiyan 2 is kind of seen as like this just extra form that Gohan unlocks, whereas in the actual arc it's very specific that it's not just that Gohan perfected Super Saiyan 2, it's that he's finally harnessing his rage as a character. And so to show that with Trunks and have it not be as effective. It's like that last little hope of, okay, if I can just do what Gohan did, if I can just get Super Saiyan 2, and now that I've seen it, I understand it, I can do it. Once I can get that, then I can break Cell, and then have that still fail. I think is how you get that push. It's like that last. If you go with the Joker example, I'll go with the Bane example. This is the last prison because it poisons you with hope.
Not bad. But yeah, stick with that idea. Set your Cell up. Set your Trunks up. Whether you do, he's reached the level of Super Saiyan, but he's not at the right power to kill Cell. He can challenge Cell, they're equals, whatever it may be. Set them up on some level where these two characters with somewhat similar backstories, with somewhat similar, not goals and like the idea of Cell wants to attain perfection and be like the only creature who has ever attained it. Goals in that these are both characters who, I keep going back to the idea, they started out in a timeline that was really desolate and hopeless, and they had to, find some level of hope, whether it be through Cell killing a version of Trunks, or it be through Trunks, dealing with his mother and protecting her through the entirety of the androids and their attacks and stuff like that, and getting her to the point where she can build the time machine and create his hope for him. These are two characters who have both had to deal with massive amounts of despair, hold on to some small amount of hope. They've had to attain high levels of power to achieve their dreams, whatever they may be. They're very, very diametrically together here. So have this conversation between Cell and Trunks, where Cell is like, Trunks, what are you fighting for? I know what I'm fighting for. But look around you. Your father, Gohan, Goku, Piccolo, these fools, they're dead. Your timeline, it's gone. The time machine, it's gone. There's absolutely nothing to fight me for anymore. So why are you fighting me? And have Trunks say some like horny, superhero stuff like, I have hope. Have him still try and do the
Because
hero
it's the right
thing.
thing to do.
Because it's the right thing to do. Something like that. Have him still try and hold on to what exactly he is. And have Cell just look him in the eyes and say, no, that's incorrect. Why are you still fighting me? As he does this, maybe let Trunks get even angrier. Maybe have him lash out and do some attack that is not able to destroy Cell, but it gives Cell another Zenkai. Cell is now stronger. Cell now goes, you're not understanding me, and you're too interesting for me to kill you now. So I'll make you a deal. I'll return the favor. Beats Trunks to a pulp, leaves him there. Sits with him, and just lets him stay on the brink of death. Maybe he has a sensor with him. Maybe he now unlocks the ability to heal somebody, whatever it may be. Have that scene from Spider-Man, the first one where they're on the roof. Spider-Man, that stuff. And just have these two characters talk when they can't fight. Or one of them can. One of them clearly holds the power here. There's not enough talking in Dragon Ball in these types of situations. Where the villain and the hero, the antagonist, those who are bent against each other get to speak about their differences. Have these two talk. Why are you still fighting? And Trunks can just keep saying, I don't know. This can be how you break Trunks. Okay. We'll keep doing this till you figure out a better answer than, I don't know. Hope. It's the right thing to do. I want something meatier than that, Trunks. I want something interesting. I'm perfect now. It's going to be it's going to be a really long life for me with a lot of boringness. So if I get something that's going to entertain me, I'm going to play with it till it breaks. Why are you still fighting, Trunks? Keep up with that. Then do your time skip. Years later, Trunks is the only person alive in this entire universe. Timeline, whatever it may be. At some point, maybe he overpowers Cell. Maybe Cell pushes him too far. Maybe Cell is like, you finally figured it out. I'm happy to let you kill me now. Whatever it may be. Cell has been pushed out. Trunks is the only one left. Now Trunks is the villain you want him to be. Because now Trunks has had all the things that need to really push him over the edge. He isn't just, I'm fragile, I'm hurt, I'm in a bad place. He's been pushed there, and also he's been questioned. He's been stopped in just thinking it's that simple. It's not just as simple as, I want to save the world. I want to do the right thing. Because it's not. Your dad didn't find it that easy. Goku didn't find it that easy. Gohan, hell of enough, didn't find it that easy. Nobody in this series ever found it just as easy as, I do this because it's the right thing to do. The right thing to do ain't easy. So why are you doing it? That would be my way of going about that.
Yeah, I think the only problem with that is it takes the focus too much. I think I guess my question is, how many parts do you want this to be? Because everything you were just describing, man, sounds like really, really cool as like this Trunks' backstory, and seems like it would almost justify an entire video in and of itself, as opposed to just the background for maybe a 2-part video. Like, because I think that as cool as all that is, you definitely want the focus of the story to be on the heroes fighting against this villain, because the thing about that is that makes evil Trunks, let's call him, the background character, or the protagonist of his story. And I think the bigger grab, the more interesting grab for like clickbait reasons and stuff, is to make him the antagonist of a story. So I think, like, if it were me, and I don't know, like, I know that parts and stuff get really complicated for you guys with the more analytical side of things, I would do this as a 3-part video. I would do your part 1, the Kid Trunks, Zeno Trunks show up, and they find evil Trunks, and he kicks the shit out of them, and you know, uses their time machine to get back, and maybe Zeno Trunks has a spare, or just whatever. Then evil Trunks in that part is shown to be going from like all over universes, all over timelines, just wrecking things because he wants to just eliminate hope. Then I would do part 2 and do the origin of evil Trunks, show that backstory. And then I'd do part 3 and have, you know, the Zeno Trunks, the Kid Trunks, Goten go to the future, or go to the future timeline with the other 2 Trunkses, and then you've got that situation where you could kill off the future Trunks that we don't even know about, as like a big like oh no moment, and then you could do the big conclusion fight. Is you've got Kid Trunks has to teach, you know, Zeno Trunks and Goku Black Arc Trunks how to fuse in order to take down evil Trunks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I would structure the thing, because just a lot of the really interesting ideas that we're talking about there are really, really good, but like all of them are good for their own video, and I just don't know like how good a 3-part story functions on your end of things.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Smug, my bad.
I think I'm not opposed to doing multiple parts. I do like the idea of doing part 1, the heroes are defeated, part 2 is the actual backstory, and part 3 is the conclusion.
I mean, it could be a longer video. Those tend to, for what it's worth, from our side of things, because I know we do a lot longer videos than you guys usually do. The longer videos do tend to help the channel, so you could frame it as just a movie almost, depending on how long it gets. You could frame it as like a 40 to 60 minute video. It would be like a, you know, bolder, or not bolder necessarily, but it'd be something that your audience probably isn't used to. But, you know, I honestly, like, I came up on YouTube back, you know, during the 10-minute time limit days kind of thing, so I've still kind of got it in my head where I'm like, oh no, you can't go too long with it, but like, you'd be surprised how many people really enjoy those really long videos and get really into them, and Alfie's talked to me about the analytics of our videos, and people, like, you'd think that they're just going to click off of it, but the watch time is pretty solid. So it might be worth considering if like a 3-part video isn't the move, it might be worth considering just doing it as a single really long video that would kind of function as like a movie in 3 acts.
You know, that might be the way for this one, honestly. I think I might do that.
Yeah,
because I'm not the biggest fan of doing sequels anyways. So I think doing it as a one-shot long video would be good. It just have to be a I just have to make the, what's it called? I just have to like prepare a little more for it, and you know, set time aside. Because this is really like a passion project more than anything. At this point, like, I'm gonna get some like storyboards and stuff like that for specific scenes. So either way, I don't think I'm gonna make like incredible money doing it, but I like if I just want to do it, so I think it'd be worth it to just make it that one long thing.
I mean, I think that'd be like a cool thing because Alfie and I obviously do the movie cuts of our stuff, but like it would be kind of that's like a power move. Smug, you got 100,000 subscribers, you can do a power move. You can just like show up and just boom, hour-long video. No previous parts. It's not a compilation. It's a brand new story. That'd be kind of cool, man.
That would be kind of sick.
I like the idea of getting more art. Like the art you have here is super freaking cool. I like the idea of seeing more stuff like that. And again, I think it's a cool idea to have the like the ultimate Trunks fusion kind of thing. Just sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I don't know I think the one thing we haven't talked a lot about that's part of your initial pitch is the Goten in the bag kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think of like what story relevance, what thematic relevance that has, and the thought that's kind of occurring to me is you could have that be the reason that this Trunks is wrong. Of like, if part 2 is all about like what's pushed this Trunks to become evil, what's pushed this Trunks to lose hope, the symbol of hope in Dragon Ball, to lose it, right?
Right.
What has pushed him this way, and it's yada yada yada, all this stuff, and then the big argument against him, the like way that our heroes win, not just through physical might of the power of fusion, and not just through like the resources of having infinite Trunks, is they've got the argument that like stops it. It's like, if you seriously believe that there's no hope in any universe anymore, then why did you let the kid live?
Mm-hmm,
And it's just like that moment where he realizes, I was holding on to hope without even realizing it. Like he kept baby Goten alive just because it was like that last bit of hope that he didn't even realize he had.
Right, a little bit of humanity. Professor Chim said something similar in the chat over here.
One sec,
I really like the...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I want to read out this donation real quickly. The first one, the whole stream. Mark says, good stuff. I listen while at work. Thank you so much for listening while at work.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Smug.
I was just saying that. I don't... Because I really like that, that idea. For that, this being like the argument against them, I think that works very well. I was thinking at the end, because there's no way, I don't know exactly how I want it to end, but I was thinking that this Goten goes with probably the Dragon Ball Super Trunks to his timeline. It'd be kind of fun because in this way, like everybody is always like, oh, like the normies, quote unquote, are like, oh, why isn't Goten born in the future Trunks timeline? And this way, you're like, there it is. Here's Goten with future Trunks, and future Trunks raises him and stuff. So that'd be cool.
I like that idea. That'd be a good way to like send the kid off, and that's a good idea.
But that's pretty much as far, at least I think, as I've thought for this story.
Yeah, no, I think there's like some cool ideas because, like I said, you got the idea of Ultimate Trunks. You can have like Gotenks be in your part 1 and get defeated by Evil Trunks, which just like, Gotenks is no pushover. End of the day, this is the one that took on Boo and everything. So like that kind of sets him up as like a big deal, and then to have the Ultimate Trunks be the fusion of it, I think that's a pretty cool thing. I guess my remaining question is, do they kill him, or is there like what is the ending of?
I'm not sure about.
That's
what I'm not sure about. I'm thinking a possibility could be something like trapping him in
Mafubon?
Not the Mafua is an option, yeah. But like in between dimensions, like Demigra was in Xenoverse. Or
I'm just trying to think, like, what's the best ending for him, especially with that, like, no, you don't realize the whole time you held on to hope, even though you thought you'd lost it all. And so I'm trying to think of, like, what's the good thematic end for that, because trapping him gives that sense of, like, that lingering threat. You know, to use the comic book example, it's the villain being put in prison to break out later.
sure.
I feel kind of contradicts the idea. I'm wondering if there should be some level of, like, if you should do kind of like a Darth Vader redemption of, like, he realizes that he was wrong about everything. Okay. What if instead, because this might just be more economical to story, what if instead of traveling, like, universe to universe, killing Z fighters kind of thing, Evil Trunks goes to, like, the beginning of time, and he's gonna destroy, like, reality before, like, the original 18 universes are created. And, like, he's set up some kind of thing to make that happen, so that even if they defeat him in battle, it won't matter because this thing will still happen. And they give him that realization of Baby Goten, and he does that kind of Darth Vader move of the self-sacrifice to redeem what he became. I think that's a better ending. Like, you can still have him defeated, like, physically, but just the idea of, like, for his character to have been proven wrong, and then, you know, the real Trunks is back in this body that has just been through hell.
Right. So what do you think, like, so where does he end up in this?
Well, I think you do the, like, he could still die, but, like, he dies through an act of sacrifice and redemption.
Gotcha.
In that very Darth Vader kind of way, in my mind. Because, I mean, if you want it to fit in canon, Dragon Ball probably doesn't need another Trunks.
Right.
But I think it'd be a good thing to do, to have your, like, evil Trunks, you know, kind of go away in a blaze of glory of redemption kind of thing, and have the fighters be the ones that convince him of this kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a lot better than just killing him.
Man, I'm excited. When's the video, Smug? When's it? Evil Trunks when?
I am excited for it too.
Yeah, because, like, I really like the structure of it, because you can do the first act and have them just get, you know, Gotenks and Xeno Trunks just get dusted on by this evil version. And I think, I'm not sure exactly, like, your initial pitch of how they get there, I'm a little shaky on, so I think that's a detail we might want to flesh out. But, like, I really like that Act 1 of getting there, introduce the threat, have them get completely murked on, even Gotenks at you know, super power level is still destroyed. Steals the time machine, something, and then that's when we get the, like, maybe part 2, Act 2 is when he's, like, setting up his gambit to destroy all of time. Just, like, destroy the universe as the Big Bang is like the beginning of your Act 2. And that's where, you know, he just begins to reflect on what had brought him here, and that's where you go into the origin, the history of future Evil Trunks. So he's, like, setting something up to destroy all of time, and then you know, as a mercy, since there can never truly be a good future. And then you get to the end of Act 2 as Goten, Kid Trunks, Xeno Trunks, Super Trunks, extra Super Trunks that gets killed just to show that he is still a threat, kind of thing. They all show up, and then, you know,
Yeah, I love it though. I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm digging it. What's the chat thinking of this? I'm like, peering at it here and there, but I have a hard time reading and talking at the same time.
Right.
People are enjoying the idea. I think they're somewhat on topic. I think just a little
Nah.
Somebody said rock hard I am. Also, Plus Ultra, I don't know if you take care of it, but right now on this live stream itself, there's just somebody calling you the N-word.
Oh,
Well, that's like a daily occurrence. So anyway.
Yeah. That is.
Do you see it?
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
no,
I imagine there's a mod either a mod's taking care of it or like YouTube is like flagging half the stuff he's saying by itself and just like cutting it out. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, but it's like actually showing up on your like text box on the stream.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if that's how it's gonna be, the worst thing you can do for a troll is like give them any attention at all because that's what they feel.
Fair.
So
Sure,
I just like if I see it, I clock it with my eyes and just like ignore it.
Nah, I got you.
The chat is like pretty good right now though. One idea I really liked was this idea of Ace the Windrider, somebody who is voice acted with me. He's voice acted on Geeks for Fun before. He says, "What if Trunks can cut through time?" That's another idea I kind of like. Is Trunks is like a time-based character for a lot. He never got like an actual time-based power. It'd be really cool if future evil Trunks found a way to like maybe cut through the center of the universe and just like stop all life from being created or something like that. And that way you really stop all hope from like really coming out. That said, I also had like three things to say. That was one of them. I think was like the idea of what Trunks can do to threaten everyone. The second one would be, Sid, I think you were actually wrong about something. I think my like usual upload length is actually about as long as Geeks for Fun, or very, very close to. Like some of my videos are 40 plus minutes, 30 plus minutes. That's usually the range I actually shoot for.
Okay.
Another thing I was going to say to Smug was, yeah, either a compilation story or just a big ass video that works. I did a part 9 to a series that was an hour long. Came out 4 months ago because I'm just terrible with this. But even at a part 9 to a series at an hour long, it got 30,000 views really easily.
Nice.
So just going for watch time, that's a really easy way to maximize people coming to see the video, because some people want to stick on one video, watch that for a while, and have to worry about like finding something else to watch. I've noticed that a lot through quarantine. People are very hungry for content that is actually like substantial, not just I see it, I click on it, it lasts for around 12 minutes and I'm done with it. YouTube tries to push that stuff so much, but during the quarantine I've just noticed like people just don't like that as much. People want something to like kind of focus on and get their minds off of something else instead of going into something for like a few minutes and then coming right out of it and being right back in the place they were.
Yeah.
And my final thing was going to be the way to have this Trunks take himself out, I think, or like go out, I think. Yeah, have the sacrifice go. Have whatever it be, like, oh, Trunks has become so powerful that he's overloading like all the time, energy, and stuff in his body, and like when he detonates it all, he'll cut straight into the Big Bang and yada yada. Do all that stuff. Have somebody make the argument of like, okay, well, why did you say why'd you say the baby? If you don't want Hope to be alive, why'd you say the baby just to kill him? And have that argument go. Have them convince Trunks, and have Trunks just kind of not fully just be like, oh, I'm a good guy again, yada yada. I'm sorry, guys. Have him just be like, huh? I guess we were both wrong, Cell. Put his hand to his chest right over the hole, and then blow his own chest out, like Cell did to him. It's a very yeah. It's dark as hell. I agree. It's dark as hell, but it's the evil Trunks going out in his own way. He's not just being taken out by somebody. I think that's something most Dragon Ball villains don't get, or antagonists don't get in their own way. He's learning his own lesson and then rectifying the situation of being alive, and like whatever things he's done by just taking himself out. And can I just say, that's Vegeta as hell. That's like the most Vegeta thing I could think of Trunks doing in that situation. Is, oh, I'm totally wrong. Okay, I'll rectify it. But the only way to do that is violence. I can't atone for this in any other way. I'm sorry.
No, fuck.
Original Vegeta was like that.
Final Flash.
Yeah, Vegeta was like that. If we didn't get Vegeta back after the final explosion, I think that would have been a better ending for Vegeta's character than anything you could have done with him. Not even that, actually, because I think the actual like, idea of Majin Vegeta is kind of stupid. But
you know what I thought of is like, sorry to interrupt you,
no, go ahead.
Like no matter like how he's like sacrifices himself or ends himself or whatever, it'd be kind of cool to have like the image. I don't know if you guys seen the Death of Wolverine, of like Reddit. You know how Wolverine just ends like sitting down,
encased in adamantium.
Encased in adamantium, yeah. you know how Vegeta turns into stone after he uses the final explosion?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be kind of cool to just like have Trunks like that. Like
Yeah.
whatever the sacrifice is, he just gets turned into stone, and he's
That'd be
just sitting there.
You know, it'd be. I don't know. You tell me if you think this is too far. What if like future evil Trunks' last line is? It doesn't have to be exactly, but like, what if it has that same kind of feel as that Vegeta final explosion? I do this for you, Trunks, Bulma, and even you, Kakarot. It's like, I do this for you, Goten, Trunks, and even you. Cell.
Trunks. Trunks. And yes, even you, Trunks.
I think if you do that, have them say something really simple, like not corny at all, just like, I guess hope can exist, or something like that. Just something before it's like, okay, whatever, I was wrong. I'm glad
Goten.
I was wrong. Yeah, maybe just Goten, like maybe like hope may not exist, or maybe hope isn't forever, but you know, as long as there are people who try and keep it alive, it's got a fighting chance. I'm fine with that. Have them come to some situation of like, despair and hope are two sides of the exact same coin. That was also another idea I was going to kind of pitch, was the idea of taking this Trunks into the pain route of just like, oh, my mind's so shattered, I'm crafting a whole new persona for myself, and I'm just going to call myself some embodiment of like a human, you know, thing that people go through. I'm now the physical embodiment of all pain that like humanity goes through. Enjoy. No. But I was going to be like, just have him call himself Despair or something like that. I was really going to attempt that idea. But yeah, you can have him still kind of rectify the idea of like, oh, just like pain and love are like two things that are on the same coin, and you can, you know, choose and you know, show who you show what to. And there are times when like it may seem like causing pain is the best option, but maybe it's showing love. You can still do that. Just have it be with Trunks here. Okay. Your
I think that really works, and normally my hesitation on something like this would be you don't want it to go too dark because then it gets too like, you know, bad fanficky. You usually want to try to introduce some kind of gag or something. But I think with Goten and with Kid Goten and Kid Trunks there, you can keep some of the levity alive, and that's kind of that's the argument against him, because Vegeta's assessment of why those boys don't get to go to the Tournament of Power is, oh, they don't take things seriously enough, they need more experience. And like have them kind of persevere by still being pretty goofy. You know, in the face of it all, like, you know, just they get to have the moment of like, well, you're just a big old idiot, because if all hope is not alive and yada yada yada, then why'd you keep the baby? And so I think if you kind of go with that, and you let them kind of keep their levity and do the Dragon Ball comedy through them in this fight, just have it like, dude, start making up some Gotenks attacks for them to use on evil Trunks.
Yeah.
Just like on that insane level of like the Ghost Kamehameha, but like go even crazier, because now they've had like a couple years to just think of weird stuff to do in Fuse. Like, oh man, next time we fuse, we're gonna do something so crazy, and like maybe it starts off like they're on an island when the whole thing starts filled with like weird animals, so maybe you could even like seed it a little bit and like have them create the idea for an attack based on one of the crazy animals on this island. Something like that would I think be a cool way to get your comedy in, and I think it works because, you know, future Trunks obviously has like the darkest shit to deal with in all of Dragon Ball. So I think you can get away with him as a villain not having a gag like a lot of Dragon Ball villains do. If you lean into the Gotenks, you know, zaniness, with the boys like that.
I agree.
Can a Saiyan fuse with themselves? I mean, why not, right? Like, that's Ace the Wind Rider asked about that. I think they should be able to. I mean, you know, isn't there precedent for it? Didn't that happen in Heroes? Heroes
has no canonical bearing at all. But yeah, arguably,
like just for the idea of it.
Yeah, arguably you should be able to fuse anybody as long as they have like a set amount of ki you can combine with your own, and then have
absolutely like
on top of it.
Future Gohan and present Gohan are completely different people. Like I've had them fuse before into the Ultimate Saiyaman. That shit was goated. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no reason why not.
Yeah, so I think that's a really cool way to do it, and just if you guys are stronger than both of us, so you two fused, then it'd be crazy. Can we even do that with the same person? I mean, you could try. Like, what's the worst that could happen besides you turning into like huge fat man or ultra skinny anorexic Trunks? I'm sure it'll be fine. You got this.
Right.
Oh,
It's perfect. That's perfect. I love this so far.
yeah,
But
this is great.
that's my pitch, my idea. If you guys wanna do one of yours,
Sid, do you have one? Technically, we started on mine last time, and then Alfie never really got to do his own. I think we took some time to read the chat and see how everybody was doing. We're doing that pretty well now. We're just kind of interacting with people who are talking a lot. So I don't think we'll do it at this time. If you have an idea, go ahead and pitch it, my guy.
Okay, I've had one. I've got like two that I've kind of been kicking around. One of them I'm pretty solid on. The idea I want to do, it's just getting the time to do it, so I don't think I'm going to talk about that one. But like I did the aliens in Dragon Ball and the Predator in Dragon Ball, and so I started working on another one kind of in that series. And I just like, I loved the idea for it, but immediately as I started writing it, I hit a wall. I couldn't figure out where to go with it, how to make it work out, and I had like a couple outline things for it, but I really just didn't know like how to put the words on the page to make things start happening. And so, in the same vein as aliens in Dragon Ball and predators in Dragon Ball, I wanted to do Freddy Krueger in Dragon Ball.
that's great though. No, that's honestly, I'm all for Dragon horror shit in Dragon Ball. I love that stuff so much.
Yeah, Alfie and I had an idea, or had a night where we just sat down and like, okay, what horror villains can we put in Dragon Ball and have fun with? And like the one I'm the biggest fan of is definitely Freddy Krueger. And so the formula I did, ignoring Aliens Part 2, which like is kind of its own thing. Aliens Part 1 is Frieza versus Xenomorphs, and it proves that Frieza is the bigger monster of those two things. And then Part 2 is, pre-Saiyan Saga Vegeta versus Predators. And it proves that Vegeta is the bigger monster of those two. And so the idea I had for Freddy Krueger is Freddy Krueger versus Cell. And the like timeline, because I love doing this can take place in continuity. The timeline I had for it is, it's like, I'm so tempted that if I ever do make this like finally happen, I'm tempted to do the like Team 4-Star Cell versus video, like Double Artemis Cell versus things for the thumbnail or whatever. But like, yeah, so the timeline I have in mind for it is for Freddy to go and challenge Cell in the lead up to the Cell games. Because, I can't let you kill everyone on the Earth because then I'll die too. Because I need their fear, I need them alive to prey upon. Otherwise, I'll fall away too. And to have it be, Freddy versus Cell. And kind of I've got like the major beats of it planned out, I think. It's just really getting things to start, I think. Because where I want it to go is I want Freddy to kind of throw all of the fears of the people that make up Cell at him. So like, start with, Cell is made of Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, King Cold, and, smatterings of the humans. The humans don't matter as much. So I wanted like Freddy to try throwing, just the fears of those people at him. And so I wanted him to start with throwing needles because Goku, and then worms at Cell because Vegeta, and then monkeys because of Frieza. wasn't sure what to do with King Cold, but maybe we can think on that one a little bit. And have all of those things not really work. And Cell just keep pushing past them and getting stronger. And then for Freddy to finally figure out what Cell is afraid of, and that's becoming, not perfect, becoming weak, becoming irrelevant again, and like kind of, peeling back the layers of Cell's mind. Because Freddy is like legitimately a threat. Like the funny thing is with the Aliens and Dragon Ball video, besides the comments, there are aliens in Dragon Ball, the Saiyans and Frieza. Like besides those comments, the comment I got the most was, well, Frieza would just bulldoze these things. They don't stand a chance. I'm like, that's not the point. And same thing with Predators. The Predators didn't stand a chance against the Saiyans. But like legitimately, Freddy attacks you in your sleep on the mental plane. So if anyone stands a chance against the Cell or any of these villains, it would legitimately be Freddy Krueger. So my kind of thought is he eventually like peels back the layers of Cell's mind and kind of makes Cell, dread becoming imperfect again, becoming weak, becoming a little tiny bug in a jar, vulnerable. Because that's what Cell's, I think, the most afraid of is just being, nothing again, especially after being perfect. And then for Cell to find some way to push past that, to defeat Freddy at that level, and then for Freddy to have like one last-ditch thing as he's being kind of expelled and defeated on the mental plane by Cell, proving, Cell's the more like cunning, more terrifying monster. But to have Freddy say, well, there's something coming for you, something more powerful and terrifying than me, and then to have like to foreshadow, I've been inside his head and he's got a rage you can't even imagine, and foreshadow Gohan coming, because there's also like during that lead up to the Cell games, there's that whole thing of Gohan having that nightmare about Cell, and so I wanted to thread the needle of continuity and have Freddy be responsible.
That's so fucking good. I love
that. So like I've got the structure all planned out in my head. It's more just like I started writing the script for this, and I was just like, I didn't know like how to really kick things off, where to really begin with a lot of that. Like just the meat and potatoes of getting the words down on the page. Really, I had a hard time just starting the story, I think.
Ooh. Smug, I had you put before me to do the pitch, but would you mind letting me do the pitch first? For the story, pretty much.
Yeah, go for it.
Hold on, let me also put this back. Also, I have to say, I was also very inspired to start talking because the song that's currently playing for chat, I don't know if you guys hear it or if you're listening to chat, but it's from the Nier Automata soundtrack. It's the bunker theme, and it's such a good song. And as Sid started to get into the real meat and potatoes of his idea, that came on, and it was like, oh, you should definitely use this if you tell the story, especially during the part where you're talking about Cell's actual fears. I want to say what I love. Oh, also, I have to put down your core ideas and concepts pretty soon. I'll do that after I give my pitch, though.
Okay.
One thing I really loved that you really easily hinted on. Number one, I was like looking for the thumbnail for the aliens in Dragon Ball. As soon as I typed it in, it just showed me like all the alien like races in Dragon Ball, and I got so mad. So I had to go in and add Geeks4Fun too.
Yeah, every comment, like they don't even in the first minute of the video. I'm like, yeah, Akira Toriyama is a big fan of xenomorphs, and then just every comment, aliens are already in Dragon Ball.
Oh, truly 900 IQ commenters, all of them. But you made the best what is it? Kowtow, whatever you want to call it. You made the best acknowledgement you could have by just saying, I know that like it's very irrelevant if these characters can like take on Frieza or not. Notice you didn't title it "What if aliens fought Frieza" or anything. You just, what if they were in Dragon Ball? We want to explore that concept. You asked, what if what if Freddy Krueger took on Cell? You start with a really good idea of Cell is now a direct threat to Kruger's food source. And if you put him that way, Kruger already scales is like a planetary being. There's like 7 billion people on the planet. People have anxieties. People have fears about like small things to like driving to things like, oh, I have PTSD because I was like, whatever happened. Fear is a really big power source for Kruger. I'm not saying that you should just have a Kruger that's like, oh, I can take on. No, you don't have to do that. But the idea of just like acknowledging that really off the bat is like, yeah, that's fine. For Cell to be the stronger here is not really the case, or it's not really the issue.
It's not a given.
It's not an issue. And then the idea of foreshadowing Gohan with the embodiment of fear. That's some of the best. Oh my god. That burnt me. That was so good. I love it. The only thing I could think of that would make that better is if you do this story, by God, I'll even pay for it myself. Please get art of Freddy Krueger drawn in Toriyama's art style if you can. And also, please get something of either Cell burning him out of his mind or whatever he's doing when he's doing that. Have Krueger maybe have it storyboarded. Maybe do like a 4-panel manga sheet or whatever it is. You see them in the mind space. Cell evicts Krueger. Krueger's like realizing he can't win. Krueger smirks. Then you have one panel where he's like being burned away, kind of like Bardock is when he smiles and stuff like that. Have the text bubble there. So it's not like a real embodiment of him. So even he's like being like forced out, he can still like communicate because this is like a mental thing. And just have him say like, hey, there's going to be something else, something more powerful than me, something that's overcome fear. So get ready for that. I think the best way to start it off, though, remember what Cell does when setting up the Cell games, announcing them. The first thing that happens is the world's military is like, oh, so we got another King Piccolo, huh? Well, look, we've been preparing for this since King Piccolo. We got this. People's fears since King Piccolo have been mounting. People have been scared of a situation like this. But for once, the human race will not just bow down to another green creature. We're finna go deal with this. So the army is sent there, and they're wiped out.
Oh my god.
Kruger fed on all that fear during that fight with the army. He was loving it. Oh my god. He was just like, just imagine him he can't be seen by the people around him. He's just sitting on maybe one of the tanks or the jets or something like that, just like rubbing his belly, just like, Jesus Christ, y'all are scared. The fight goes, as Kruger watches Cell, there's part of him that just enjoys watching death. There's part of him that just enjoys watching things that people would find fear out of. But there's also part of him that is, wait, this is really bittersweet. This is really, it looks like a good situation for me, but it's definitely not. If he gets his way, my food source is gone. I don't know if I can feed off other planets. Maybe establish that. Maybe establish him like being a human so he can maybe only feed off human fear. That'd actually be a really good idea to do, actually. I can't feed off like Namekian fear. I can't feed off freeze. I can't do all that other stuff with other aliens.
But Cell has human DNA, so that's his like in.
But you have bits of human in you. And I'm pretty sure if I really took you on, just like I did to that machete wielding fool that one time, I could take you down if I wanted to. Have Freddy be somewhat confident about himself. It's not pure confidence that's leading him into the fight. It's a bit of confidence. It's a bit of greed. It's a bit of selfishness. But it's also acknowledgement of, if I let you continue on, you impact me. Therefore, we can't coexist. That's what brings these two together. Then, after Cell has just decimated everyone there, have Cell just sit there perfectly still in the Cell Games arena. Cell closes his eyes once, and he opens them. Can I even sleep? Why am I dreaming? Like, he goes into the dream, then you go through all your, you're hit with the fears of Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, do that part. Go into your last part of your story, but I'd definitely start it like that. Start it with the human beings stepping up to take on Cell. Kruger enjoying the fear. Kruger enjoying the fear from times back that go back to King Piccolo. Kruger enjoying all that fear, but damn, every time these people are threatened like this, I've never been able to do anything till now. And if I
gave me
this,
like really, really good idea as you were talking about like the army thing that like I didn't even think of, because one of the things is like, all right, like what's the conceit? He just shows up like it is a Team 4-star video. It's a little weak. But like you gave me an idea because I didn't think about the army attacking Cell, and so as you were talking about that, I was like, one soldier's like left alive and Cell's just like, you know, or like a couple soldiers just like left alive, like horribly injured, and Cell's just kind of going through zap, zap, dead, dead. And he just finds what it was like, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And like that's what puts the idea of Kruger into Cell's head, that gives him that like that door to open kind of thing. Of that's how you introduce Kruger into Cell's mind, is one soldier just like has him already.
Freddy just like manifesting maybe and like causing the guy to like whisper it as he's dying. That'd be a really cool way for Freddy to use his powers as well, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks so much. Like that's exactly what I was waiting for. Is like it felt so disingenuous to just have him show up. That like the idea of that intro with the army is like I think the perfect way to get it in there. And so I'm just like, the other thing I ran into as I was like trying to write it is behind the scenes baseball, whatever the phrase is there. So like when Alfie and I are writing, the way that we usually work is I'm like, Alfie, come help me with this fight. Because like I'll have like cool ideas for the beats of fights, but like just the actual description of having it happen is something that I've gotten better at, but I'm still not great at it. So I'm trying to think of like, do you think that, like, I like the idea of Cell kind of, you know, pushing past all of the fears of those that made him up, because Cell is more than the sum of his parts. I like the idea of him pushing past all those things, but I'm not sure how long I should have those different, like, phobias or whatever linger. Like how long or how effective they should be. Should it be like Cell's just walking through them left to right, or should it be something more what's the word I want here? Something more lasting, that it actually does start to affect him, and like maybe that's how he starts to get used to the effects of Freddy's attack, because you know there's telepathic and that kind of, you know, the mental realm of fighting in Dragon Ball, but it's like it's never been the focus that it's become in Western comics and stuff. And so I think that's like a very particular area of vulnerability for Dragon Ball characters. And I'm like,
for sure,
maybe the initial like probes by Freddy into like, well, I'm finding this fear in you, so I'm going to prey on that. And it's like, it maybe has like a shock, like a boo effect on Cell, but it doesn't like actively scare him. It doesn't actively make him feel fear. And maybe that's kind of like, I'm debating on how long to linger on that kind of stuff.
I would say literally have Cell walk through everything but the last, like, oh, well, there's something coming for you. Let that be the thing that's like, let Cell jump. Let Cell, like, gas. Let Cell, like, cream, like, what you talking about? I'm perfect. No, you can't. Once he finds that should be the thing that really gets him. Because until then, the way Dragon Ball works is if you're more powerful than something, you just neg out of it. You just scale out of it. It happens every single time. Nothing is sacred in Dragon Ball. There's gonna be a point when like Goku will be the strongest, Master UI will be like completely done, and even then like you'll still be getting hit by somebody else, because that's just the rules of Dragon Ball. Time has been beaten as a concept, but with Hit and Jiren. Have him do that, but have the idea of, or have the fear implanted then, because if you're perfect, he really shouldn't have too many like real concepts of fear. He has human DNA and stuff like that. You can still have the idea of like maybe Freddy being able to feed off his fear if you were to beat him. So that's another big incentive to fight Cell. Like, more power. I'd be the strongest. But I don't know if Cell should like face any real danger from Freddy until the end of it there. I love the idea of the Mindscape and how powerful that is. I'd love to do that with more stuff. But this story, the idea of like foreshadowing Gohan and using Cell, I think if you do that, Cell should be very, very concrete until the last bit. That's when he finds a chip in his armor. But that's when a chip in his armor is created. I would definitely go that way from me personally.
I think I'd like to have the fear work a little bit better, because I think Cell is actively afraid, especially since you got to remember Cell's whole thing is he existed in that future where he thought he could never be perfect, and then Trunks having a time machine was like a oh man, that's super lucky, right? So I think the idea of like using the other people's fears that make up Cell, I think, yeah, you're right. It's more impressive. It's more intimidating for him to walk through those. I think the one that I would like to like have it look like it's Freddy's trump card is the reducing Cell mentally, regressing him, making him, semi, and then making him imperfect, then making him the cocoon, and then making him the little larva in the jar. 'Cause, like, I'm kind of imagining, like, I love doing edits and photoshops, and I'm kind of imagining, like, the
morphing
Freddy,
down through that.
knife hand just like starting to pierce the glass and like skewer the little floating.
Oh, that's sick. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
I'd also love a line from Cell there, like, I've always been perfect, or something like that, where it's just, I had to work up to, like, the actual potential of it. The potential to be perfect was always there. That was always my goal. You can still, like, let Cell feel that way, like, throughout everything, because he's achieved it by now. Like, he shouldn't be able to regress. But the one thing that gets him is, but it's somebody that's going to be stronger, so you're not perfect. I'm sorry. Bye.
Yeah,
But
so
then, like, I can't even beat you up
might
after
be
you
like
say that.
the last fake out then is just have that that moment of like, oh, you're just this, you're just a fucking worm in a jar kind of thing, as like that last Freddy, like that's what the misdirect is, right? The idea that the trump card is reducing Cell to just that thing in a jar, and then having Cell push past even that. Because usually the way Freddy works is you have to acknowledge and overcome your fear to beat him, as opposed to just not having a fear. And I think that's more the interesting point, is like Cell's like, maybe Cell realizing the one thing that he is afraid of is regressing, and then just using that, like accepting that and using that to push past what Freddy's doing and kind of perfect himself on the mental realm too. And then have that be the catalyst of what, that's what proves Cell is the bigger monster than Freddy.
No, what I like through these conversations is like thinking about how each of us like approach things differently. Like even not only through writing, but like video and like whatever. Cause like what I was imagining is like Freddy's just like fucking around with Cell. Like he's doing the typical Dragon Ball thing where like he's like punching at Cell, just like to go along with him, and Cell just arms crossed, nothing's affected him, he's just laughing. But then Freddy smirks. He slashes across Cell's chest, and Cell's just all cocky. But then he hears something just like boom on the ground. He looks to his side, and it's Android 17 laying on the ground. And then he realizes, oh shit. And then another slash, boom, 18 on the ground. And he's like, oh, okay. Because that's the kind of stuff that's how I would approach something like that.
I like that a lot. Like that's how he starts to regress him, is he starts pulling on those things. I like that. That's really cool. I like the idea of Cell just kind of walking through those first things, because Cell is more than the sum of his parts. And then I'm just trying to imagine like what exactly spurs him to be able to accept the fear of regression and like push beyond it is I think like a spot I'm stuck in there. Like what's the catalyst for that?
That's so easy. That's so easy. Because like what is the whole Dragon Ball mindset? It is, I don't like the level I'm currently at, and therefore I will attempt to like get stronger than that. So for any Dragon Ball character, I'd say like the idea of like regressing should be really easy for them to like, oh, I've regressed. Okay, I'll just get stronger. Gohan's regressed. Goku has had moments where he's regressed. Vegeta's had moments where he's regressed. Piccolo has. It happens to everybody. I think run with that, but have it be not just I have regressed. I'll just train. I'll get stronger. Or for Cell, I'm perfect. It doesn't matter if I regress. What's less than perfect is still perfect. Or you can have him say something like that. That would just be the way I would do it. Also, something you said, Smug. Probably the like strongest strength this way of doing these like workshops is going to have is that we'll have all these different perspectives to kind of bring into something for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really you guys have helped so much with this. All right, so like one thing I'm still kind of just trying to think on, like a lot of the characters have obviously very specific fears. Frieza, the idea of like just I kind of like imagine trying to visualize some of this stuff, and kind of the idea of Cell just covered by like a bunch of rampaging monkeys is a really funny visual to me, because that's like what Frieza's fear is, right? Just a troop of golden monkeys climbing all over him. And so I'm trying to think of like I'm trying to think of what would be a good one for what to put as King Cold's, because that it would like the needles and the worms are like really specific things that are like phobias for the characters, and the regression thing is the actual fear. I think that the monkeys one should probably be the last of that type, because it's like the one with more meat to it. Since that's what Frieza's like legitimately terrified of. I'm trying to think of what a good one for King Cold would be.
I think it'd be kind of funny. You don't have to do this, but it'd be kind of funny if like Freddy just turned into a hairless cat, and so I was like, "What the fuck is this? Why are you a hairless cat?" And even Freddy's like, "I don't even know what this is about."
So like do like a Beerus nod.
Yeah,
that's what
right.
Right up is Beerus. That's good. Feel a hairless cat below in bubblegum. She's afraid of Beerus.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Like, yeah, it's just like they don't have the context for it, so like neither of them understand why it's a thing that's like hidden in Cell's subconscious of him to even be afraid of. That's good. That totally works as like the gag moment, and like that's the one that breaks and finally gets to like the more meaty thing for Freddy to pull on the fear of monkeys kind of thing. And then that's like the last one that Cell's able to walk through. Like I guess I'm trying to like compare it in my mind, like if Freddy's assault on these things are like the Z Fighters versus Frieza as he like kind of cycles through his forms, then like the Frieza monkey thing would just be that like, oh no, you can actually hurt me a little bit, in the same way that like Goku using the Kaioken Kamehameha actually hurt Frieza, as opposed to just being just that plaything for him. So like the oh, you actually hurt me, and it's like, there it is. So that's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of being surpassed. No, it's more than that. You're afraid of falling back. And like that's just that thing that gives Freddy that extra little window, and have Cell finally, be able to push past even that. I think that's cool. Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. I've gotten like I had a really good spark when I first started to work on this idea, and then I kind of lost it in the script, and so it's this whole process is just getting me hype all over again to go back and work on this script again.
Yeah,
that's what it's here for, man. The original story, or not story, the title for this was going to be the Weekly What If Workshop, where it was going to be not just workshopping our stuff, but if we had like somebody come in and be like, hey, I did a what if, would you guys like mind reviewing it for me and like tell me what you thought? We'd even do that for you. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I put a few things down for your key concepts, ideas, things you want to like answer with the video. I did not catch all of Smug's pitch, so whenever I can like go back and rewatch the stream, I'll kind of go back and add that as well.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, man.
What else was gonna? I think that was it. I also made like a visual of like a scary Gohan. I think like a silhouetted Gohan. I don't know if you can see the
Yeah, I did. It's cool. I like the way you took out the eyes and stuff. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like actually the funny thing is though, instead of like silhouette in black, I was thinking of like silhouette by just pure light.
You could actually do the reverse really easily.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. Is that silhouette of like just that blinding light kind of silhouette style. Was kind of the direction I was headed toward in my mind. It's like that last little tease. It's like, oh, fine, you might not fall back, but there's gonna be someone. I've been in his fucking head. And so I guess that's the other thing I kind of need to wrap in here is like how to tie that last little thread of of Freddy being, because I don't really think it matters that they're in another dimension in the time chamber, because it's all mental psychic plane kind of stuff, so I think it's fine. But of Freddy giving Gohan the nightmare of Cell, it's like, does he do it like as an insurance plan? Does he do it like, just in case I fail, you're the one I'm gonna store myself away in you, and then I'll have this as a go-to instead.
That'd be kind of cool. Like, you'll thank me later, anyways.
Yeah.
You'll thank me later. Don't worry about it. Listen, you'll pee yourself now. It'll be okay later. Just
you need
yourself.
this, me.
Get over yourself.
Yeah, so that's kind of the level I'm thinking on. It's like, and then it just becomes about structure of how to structure that out, because I'm trying to imagine, like, if you've got, like, I love the idea of the soldiers attacking Cell being where the story starts, and I like the idea that that's how Freddy gets in. But I think that the Gohan moment is gonna pay off better if it's like saved for the end. Like, there's no mention of Gohan the entire time until like the very end. And so I'm trying to think of like, how do I do that, but also see the idea of Gohan having this nightmare. And I think the idea, like, that, just as I'm talking about it, I think the way I might have to do it is just talk in the beginning or toward the beginning. How Freddy's like, oh, I went all over the world trying to see if there's anyone who's going to stand a chance against you. But I realized I just had to get my own hands dirty. And, like, see the idea that, like, Freddy, used his power, his influence to, like, look inside the minds of the Z fighters and see, like, if they stood a chance to stack up against Cell, and realize just how scared they were of him. And then to take that and use that as, like, just the notion, not even have to show that he was inside Gohan's head, but that, like, that he's been inside the Z fighters' heads. And then when you get to the end with the payoff, it's like, I've been inside his head, and then start, like, showing, like, images of that Gohan nightmare.
I agree.
Before the big like, silhouette tease moment.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it'd be a really effective way to do it, actually.
Yeah, Geeks for Fun is in the chat. He's like, oh, don't forget Piccolo is in there too. Might tie in the Dr. Gero father/identity issues for Piccolo. I don't know, maybe. I'm trying to think if Piccolo has any of, like, those phobias to just
probably loneliness, like just being, like, shunned completely. Because the way he speaks to Gohan makes it sound like it was something he was very, very not like for, even though he, like, seeks it out very much. It's like non-self-imposed loneliness, like being shunned. We see it, like, a bit in the Buu saga. I think it's filler, where people are, like, seeing Piccolo and be like, ew, what, like,
at this point, he's also Kami, though.
True.
So, I'm thinking something, if like, I think having Piccolo might be a little much, too, if you have already all these other fears. But,
well, I mean, like, that's the thing, though, is if he's just walking through them, it can be like, Freddy shot, like, because there's that one, I think it's from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where Freddy, like, turns his hands into syringes and, like, injects them.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, I know. So, like, Freddy turned his hands into needles and then tried to inject him to Cell, but they broke against his chest. Like, if I just kind of list them off like that, I think it's fine. I can... Honestly, I was worried I wouldn't have enough, so I'm trying to think of something on that level for Piccolo, because it's like, the isolation thing, or the like, public ridicule thing, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, that's probably a really good one for Piccolo, but I don't know, but it doesn't seem specific enough to be able to, like, use as a weapon.
That's fair.
I think Piccolo's would be turning back into being evil. So, like, Or
I mean, that could kind of feed into the regression, maybe.
yeah, for sure. Like I guess you could represent it with like Tambourine, because he's the other son of Piccolo that was just straight up evil.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure. Or just King Piccolo, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good idea. But that's another thing. The Cell is just like, why? Get it out of my way. Like, why are you boring me? I'd love that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think of like, because there's the what about fucking Lord Slug with the whistling?
He just starts whistling.
Yeah, it's like
Whistles the theme though.
The Freddy Krueger theme.
Yeah.
oh, the Freddy Krueger. That could work. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is like there's. I might blow some people's minds because I'm pretty sure, like, I didn't even know about this, and I'm a pretty big Nightmare fan. Y'all know there's a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street television series?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. And, like, there's this one really good Freddy Krueger quote from it, though, where it's like, oh, how did you even get here? And he goes, every town has an Elm Street. And so that's how I was kind of thinking, like, working that one into the story to, like, introduce why Freddy exists in the Dragon Ball, where it's like, oh no, he's just always been there, because every town has an Elm Street.
I think that makes sense.
This version of Freddy comes from the Elm Street in West City kind of thing. So yeah, like if he whistles something and like Cell just like looks at him annoyed, and so just the idea of Freddy, you know, it's the Freddy version of like that Vegeta key blast spam, you know. Oh, I got plus looking up Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like, really? And that got me.
Oh, Freddy's Nightmare. That's right.
Freddy's
Man, I really
Nightmares.
gotta watch more Nightmare movies. I've only seen a couple. I really gotta watch that one that's like super meta.
Oh yeah, no, that's my favorite.
That one sounds so
is my
sick.
favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It's so good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm leaning toward the like whistling with Piccolo and the needles with Goku, worms, because there's the funny thing is there's, you know, like I said, there's the needle thing from Nightmare 3, and then there's that one moment where Freddy turns into like a gigantic worm. And starts to eat someone, and I'm like, yeah. So there's the worms one. So there's that, and then you do the whistling. That's easy enough because I could just get the voice actor for Freddy to whistle, and then I just need the Beerus one. Could be a really funny gag. Just holds up a naked cat and like pops some bubble gum. The hell is that even supposed to be? You know, I didn't know that one was really vague. I was hoping it would just hit on a primal level.
That's just so funny.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I'm feeling a lot more confident about this now, especially like a place to start and with the way it all like functions. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm hyped.
Me too.
That's what's up. Boys, I think we have time for at least one more story pitch that we can kind of go into, run through it like decently quickly, and then maybe talk to the chat for a bit and be done for the night. I believe we started around 7. It's about to be 9 now, so I'd say around 9:30 or 9:45 or so would be a good time to be trying to get done with this one, because that'd be about a 2-hour stream. So I guess I'll take this one since you guys have both had a chance for one. This is like probably way better than the last one, I think. So my idea, I need to pull this back down. Most of you have heard of a small story I did called What If Goku Was Sent to Planet Vomit? Hopefully I don't send a lot of, or show a lot of spoilery art right now. Wait, where is it? Don't let me spoil.
If you got double screens, use it that way.
Okay. You know what? I don't have the double screen. We'll just we'll take the L. People will see something.
I got a double screen.
Oh, I can use I can highlight things. Okay,
Just
that makes
for
more
editing,
sense.
man.
So yeah, I did a story called "What If Goku Was Sent to Planet Vampa." Because of the way which I did it, I based the version of Goku or Kakarot in this instance very, very much so off of the one from the Dragon Ball Sai manga, also known as Super Vegeta Den. For those of you who have not seen or read that yet, it is really, really good. It's currently having a redraw project done that is refurbishing a lot of the
That's
old
such
pages.
cool art.
Yeah. Zala 77S. Wait, I can do this. I can do this because I'm like streaming the thing. Boom. I can do this. Watch this. Watch me shout out the artist. Like, watch. Boom. So if you guys like Zala, you can come here. You can find his YouTube page as well. It is Zala 77S Drawing. Really, really talented artist. I'm going to be working with him a lot more as I am able to. Super, super dope. Love his work. You'll see a lot of his stuff in my thumbnails from now on, likely. He also did the version of... Let me find the boy.
I really gotta get some more commission by him too.
Hey man, how about you leave my damn artists alone? You keep stealing them.
Hey man, you're the one to find some. You know, I ask you.
But he also did the version of the Piccolo transformation that I kind of ended up introducing into one of my stories. And he did that really, really good. Cool. And I think if he didn't do it as well as he did, that concept would not have been as well accepted as it was.
So people liked it.
People really enjoyed the idea of like the Dragon Warrior Namekian thing. I was really surprised actually.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing that and thought it looked just freaking awesome.
I appreciate that. But what I'm currently trying to do is release the next part in the Vampa Vampa Goku series. Let me also send the thumbnail, I guess, because I keep showing this. Yeah, we'll use this one. And where we left the story off was the Saiyans have like pretty much formed a rebellion. It's not all Saiyans. It's got like different races, some ex-Frieza Force soldiers. They kind of come together. They've tried to do their first rebellion against Frieza and the Cold Empire. As we know, King Cold stays in his form, which is when he arrives on Earth with Mecha Frieza there. Mecha Frieza being stronger than Final Form Frieza at full power on Namek. They are read by the Z Fighters as being really, really similar in power around that point in time. So we know that King Cold would have been like higher than 120 million, way higher, or also higher than 150 million, which is Goku's. So Frieza doesn't stay in like a form that's just like that powerful all the time. Frieza stays in first form. When he feels he's pushed, he may go to second form, but people shouldn't like live to see second form. That's like one of the famous lines of him like transforming into that. Oh, I'll go into this, but you won't live to see me do it. So in part 3, the rebellion kind of like gets their gumption to like, all right, let's go ahead and try it. Let's split up. We'll have somebody go after Frieza. We'll have somebody go after King Cold. Broly, Vegeta, their group, they are stronger than Goku, so they are sent after King Cold. Goku and his group are pretty strong. They work well together. Broly has also pretty much had Goku raised under him as a younger brother, so there's a very big bond there. Broly has fought to get Goku like out of the system of oppression he's been in under the Frieza Force for a long time. There's a lot of faith put in Goku to kind of like go deal with Frieza. Goku goes. He has the help of his brother, like in Raditz, the rest of the Nappa Force, which was like a force created from Nappa, and the rest of the Saiyans in this point in the story. They take on Frieza. It does not go well as you would expect. Oh, really? One of my sound panels just fell off. And as things start to like, go haywire, the really cliche thing of Goku getting a rage boost and seeing, death around him and his S cells congregating to allow him to finally turn Super Saiyan, that happens. In fact, I even had called out in that last part, like, oh, okay, so Goku turned Super Saiyan to beat Frieza. Big, what's different about this? We end that part with Goku in bad shape. They escape the planet that they just defeated Frieza on as it's exploding. And the people with him are currently Zarbon, who has kind of switched sides, and Tarbal. And the part ends with the communicator, they're talking to the other rebels, and somebody just goes, good job with Frieza, we don't know where King Cold is. In part. So it just leaves off that. I've already had a few things for part 4 already written up and stuff like that. I'm only talking this one out because I just really want to get it hammered out before I actually do it. Part 4 begins with the same scene. You open back up. Where we're going to go? What are we going to do? We got to figure something out. arguments going on. Vegeta and Broly are like now in top command of the rebels because the person who was leading, we end up learning later in that part, or was going to be part 4, that he dies in the battle against King Cold, getting them out of there. He also does something to King Cold in that fight. I'm not going to reveal what it is because it's too big a spoiler for me to even do here. I think it would like be a really, really harsh thing to take off of the story, even for here. He bestows something upon Cold, which in the moment it stuns him. It keeps him from fighting much. It gets his, his wards, his charges, his subordinates out of the fight. They're safe, but it will make Cold a more dangerous threat in the future. So it is really just buying time for them. So as we're leaving, Goku wakes up from his kind of beaten up state. He pulls the communicator away from Tarble and Broly, are you there? That's his brother. That's who he wants to talk to. That's who he's wanted to be with for a very long time. These two are bonded in this story. Broly says, go ahead, what's up? And Kakarot is at this point, he's very much on the edge of death almost. He just goes, let's just go home. Passes out. Broly's like, oh shit, good idea, let's do that. So they fly to Vampa, which as we know, repugnant planet, was not very much in Frieza's control. Frieza didn't want anything to do with it. It was just out. It was just out there. Perfect base. Broly has not thought about Vampa in years. That's how much of the war has taken the forefront of his mind. That's how much getting Kakarot back and being at peace and being able to go back to Vampa at some point to take up his mind, that he wasn't even thinking about it as an option. They go to Vampa. They start trying to figure out a way to deal with Code as he comes up. As they do that, the leader who just died ends up on King Kai's planet, as King Kai and King Yima realize, okay, we were gonna let you just be a soul, but you really got to explain to us what you did to King Cold, because it seems like he's going to get stronger. He's alive still. I don't think you're going to fix a situation like this. He explains the situation, and a new precedent set. The villain that we've been facing is more dangerous. Kakarot's kind of brainwashing through the Frieza Force is culminating in him really appearing to not be the hero that Broly was setting him up to be for everybody else. He's very brash. He's very Vegeta-like. He's very Namek Saga Vegeta at this point. And this is where we set the story at. This group of rebels barely held together with any camaraderie, barely held together with any real loyalty to each other anymore, trying to find a way to still stand up against King Cold, who now has a power that is giving him insight and allowing him to kind of be steps ahead of them and grow stronger himself. So King Cold is set up as the bigger villain. He's more cunning in this one because I really want to play up that part of him. And oh wait, no, there are things I need to. Well, I'll kind of explain those as you guys give me your pitches for the idea. And what you would do with that setup of just, okay, here are the characters, here's where they are, here's the characterization of these characters so far. What would you do? That's still highlighted.
Yeah, I gotcha. Trying to think that so the idea of a base on Vampa is kind of the thing that immediately starts to intrigue me, because it's the worst idea ever.
It is.
In a really fun way. Did you ever watch any of Star Wars Rebels?
I watched a decent bit of it. Can I try and guess what you're gonna?
I'm kind of imagining that episode with the spider monsters on their new base kind of thing.
Pretty good. I didn't watch enough Rebels. I watched a decent amount of Clone Wars. I know the thing I was going to think we were talking about was there's a bit in Rebels where Rex and his squad show back up, but they're older. They have beards, beard bellies and stuff like that. It's really fun. Yeah. That's one of the only episodes of Rebels I really remember by heart, just because one of my favorite characters showed back up.
Mm-hmm. Well, just in more relevance to your story is there's an episode of Rebels where they've been spending a whole season looking for a planet to put a base on, and then they finally find something and it looks perfect, and then a soldier's out just kind of staking out perimeter technology, yada yada, and then just a big ass spider monster comes and grabs her and kills her. And then the whole episode is just them dealing with the fact that oh, we just found this planet and now it's just covered in these spider things. This sucks. And so I'm kind of imagining something like that. But that doesn't seem to be where a lot of your focus is. But I think I might start with something like that of just
Can I tell you one thing that happens as soon as they arrive to Vampa?
Sure.
So they're coming in hot. Broly like is having the flashback of like what happened in the fight with King Cold during the time of them flying through it. That's actually how I framed that. He wakes up, people are landing on the planet, but there's an issue, there's like, you know, an attack of some kind. Broly just tells everybody, stay calm, let me out the ship, I'm gonna handle this. Flies out, flies up, he realized that the people, or the things that he told them to kind of fly into so they didn't crash land on the planet and break all their ships like Beats and Paragus did, is he tells them, hey, aim your ships for the bright green spots on the planet. The way I see it, the Boz should be able to survive like a ship hitting them because like they survive key blasts and stuff. They should be fine. So that's always going to make them very mad though. So Broly rises out the ship as ships are like being crushed in like Boz jaw, or like another Boz creature is over here like chasing around soldiers, something like that. It's dangerous. Broly then yells, and as he yells, he uses spirit control, which is something he ends up learning with Vegeta as they are like rebels in this situation. They've been going around the universe. They've met the Ardradians. They learned a bit of spirit control training. And what he does is he basically does the, I forget exactly what the Jedi art is, but there's a Jedi art where you basically just use the Force to kind of influence an animal to realize, hey, I'm not trying to hurt you. I am only here for your benefit. We're animal friends now.
It goes back to Star Wars, man.
Yeah, listen, especially with me and my usual writing partner, Tanagadaba, we always reference Star Wars somehow in our conversations.
So good. I love it.
But
Star Wars, everything.
There's even a line there, I think, in the original script I had where Vegeta asked him, like, did you just use spirit control to make animal friends? And Broly's like, you're worried about the wrong thing. So I try and deal with the fact that like Vampa is such a bad place to have a base on really early on, because I know I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it afterwards.
Yeah, that's just like immediately in what you're talking about. That's the thing that like that'd be a great opening to an episode, I think, is just like showing just how like, oh, this seems like, because like you leave the last episode like, oh, let's just go home. Let's yeah, it's a great idea, base on Vampa. No, wait, shit, this is a terrible idea. It's
also
awful.
Guys, wait, one second. I'm so sorry to do this. My mom just popped in the chat to tell me she loves me. I gotta tell my mom that I love her too. Thank you so much. All right, go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry.
Just like I think that's like a really fun like Toriyama level subversion. Like, oh, okay, this is a great idea. This is gonna be fine. Everyone's gonna be happy now. And then just like, no, Vampa's a terrible place for a base. Just like everything about this planet sucks. Like I'd be tempted. See, I'm terrible because I don't ever want to like get to the meat of a story. I would do like the fucking Vampa season, man. I would just like have a whole season of them fucking around on this planet. It sucks. And like just when they finally get like one problem under control, just another problem. Like they finally get like rid of all the monsters that are attacking them or whatever. And it's like, okay, so what are we gonna eat? And Volley's like, you gotta eat the monsters. Oh, this is fucking bullshit.
And look, he would definitely, because he's like a leader in this, right? He's like the general of all these rebels. So he'd have to pose it like, listen, guys, I know it sucks. Look at me. I ate these things.
I got swole.
Look at how swole. Look at my abs. And he just like shows them like, all right, man, all right. Jesus, General, like I can't believe you're making us do this.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of like where my attention is, and I'm terrible about it. But that's the kind of shit that you would never see happen in Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball manga proper. But there'd be like a whole episode of filler where they're just dealing with the bullshit of Vampa. I think that's just a funny idea. I'm kind of stuck on for a second there. I'm sorry. I don't think you should do much with it. I think what you were talking about with the landing is perfectly fine, but I could spend a fucking season there, man.
I'd love to be, like, one thing I really had an idea of at some point was using my community tab to make pretty much just fan fiction pages where I'd, like, just write, like, maybe a long, like, excerpt from a story that I had that was like, okay, this is way too long for a video, but maybe just, like, putting it in a community tab post with, like, one key visual. That'd be nice.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if I'll be doing that for like a lot of stuff for this story, but it's definitely an idea I've thought of.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked by the silliness of it. Man, I don't know. Like, so just where to go from things like King Cold being this lingering threat, and you're trying to respect, trying to keep the spoiler hidden. You need to get yourself some of those patented geeks for fun. Who's to say? gifs that we always drop in our Discord.
Oh, my friend, you're fine. I think I will kind of spoil some of the key major plots, or maybe just misconstrued how I'll be doing them. But go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to think of like what to do with like them planning about Cold, because you had Frieza defeated, so that's pretty good. To see Cold without Frieza now, I think that's kind of interesting. Because Frieza, like, it's interesting because Frieza is much more hands-on with things. He's much more the one that will go there and do it himself, whereas Cold really likes to just delegate shit. But to have Cold now be kind of personally attacked and personally invested and getting involved himself is interesting to me. And so I'm trying to think of like what that looks like, and I'm wondering, maybe playing with the Vampa really sucks. This is the worst planet. Like, I'm kind of thinking of it as almost like a comedy beat. How could things get any worse? Cold, not the Cold Force, not the Cold Army, not any of that. Just Cold appears in the skies of Vampa, and like that's just like he just directly sought them out. Is kind of my temptation, which like. It's unfortunate because it gets you right toward like what would necessitate being kind of the end of the video, but at the same time, that's kind of like just the level of just batshit crazy. I'd love to have something to start at. Is just you do your like they land on Vampa with like the whole crash, and then you do like a brief time skip where they've just after months or whatever of just hell on this planet. They finally got like a thing. They're like, all right, so what's our plan? How are we gonna take down Cold? And then just yes, tell me how. Just have Cold like appear in the skies above, ready to go, because he's just gonna handle it himself. That's like his lesson, is to just finally be a little more hands-on, because otherwise this rebellion wouldn't have gotten to the level that it did if he was just more hands-on from the beginning.
I really like that. Smug, did you have an idea? Did he die?
Smug, you're on mute.
Sorry.
You're
I had
fine,
to get
man.
something to drink.
You're okay.
But no, I like all the stuff you guys been discussing. I've just been enjoying the spitballing of ideas right now, honestly.
Smug's just being all selfish and holding all his good ideas for himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty soon I'm gonna like
when I put out my Vampa Goku, it's over for you.
It is.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
I
like
can't-
seriously, I'm gonna fucking turn on Smug's channel tomorrow. It's like Freddy Krueger versus Cell. Like,
That's how he got to where he is now. Don't trust him, all right?
stealing artists and ideas.
Somebody said, I think it was Professor Chim that said, when Scream and Dragon Ball went, and listen, man, Scream is my favorite horror series, so if anyone's doing that one, it's gonna be me.
Okay. Come up with something for that one. Yeah, no, if you like Scream, you'll definitely like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's even more meta.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm about.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know, because that's kind of where I want to... That's the direction I think I would want to put things in, is just have Cold just show up. Like it seems like it's going to be, another plotting and kind of moving along thing, but then it's just... Episode 4 is just a gigantic fight of this rebellious army versus King Cold. Again, I think that's more interesting if it's not the Cold Force, if it's no one else. It's just King Cold as like this massive threat. And like, I don't know, typically I don't love the idea of King Cold being like even sniffing Frieza's level of power. Like typically I'd be more in the camp of like King Cold should be like actively weaker than Frieza, but for the sake of the story, I think it's fine to have him be just like ungodly powerful. Like the fact that Trunks was able to beat him was just because he was so like taken aback by it, he was so surprised by it, and to show like King Cold just be on this incredible level and just dust everyone, and like the only one who's any effect on him is Broly, and even then it's just the kids just being around people more has and having a brother and stuff has made Broly more in control of his power and more like sociable and stuff, but it's also had like this really negative effect where he doesn't have that like primal ladder climbing ability that he did in the movie, so he's actively like a little bit weaker. I think that could be an interesting dynamic to explore in like a Broly versus Cold kind of situation. And then you've still got your X Factor to deal with Cold there too.
This is very true. Wait, what did you just play? Okay, that's fine. I'll listen to the. No, I'm not listening to the Dokkan home screen. Actually, I refuse to listen to the Dokkan home screen. Listen. All right. Listen. I think it may be worth going into a bit more of the spoilers. Again, a big like advantage of doing these is that everyone who is going to see the story won't actually be here during it. So like I can say whatever I want to. Or like I could just make a change before the story actually comes out, and boom, it's fine. So one thing to know is that the general, the person who was leading the army that Broly and Vegeta become part of, was a Kanasan. The Kanasan that gave Bardock the future sight in the original Bardock Father of Goku special.
I can see the future.
He has a name. His name was Tulo. And I was like, damn, he has a name? That's like too much for me to do. So in part one, it's part one. Part one, the way the story starts off is the whole way Goku gets sent to Vampa is very, very simple. The only thing we change is that Paragus and Bardock have some sort of pre-established friendly relationship. They're in a state where Paragus is somebody that Bardock trusts and vice versa. Maybe they served in the same unit at some point. I think that'd be a really easy thing to do. Whatever you may be, these two have some...
Go ahead. I think your direction there is Paragus is a general and Bardock's his best soldier.
Yeah. I think I said something like that. I think I even said under Paragus, Bardock gets ranked up to elite. But as Paragus learns that Broly's been sent off by King Vegeta and all that happens, he first goes to Bardock to see hey, can I get my best dude, my one of my best friends, somebody I have to see as a comrade on my side for this. At this point, well, damn, Paragus, I got a wife, I got one kid off planet right now, I got a kid right here. I would if there was any other situation, but I can't go with you right now. So what me and Gina are gonna do, we'll send you with some food, some supplies, and a few, at some point, I'll see if I can get down to Vampa to come rescue you or whatever it may be. This isn't going to be the last time we see each other. We're friends, yada yada. So it's it's a party between two comrades. Shake hands. Paragus takes the food. He goes and he kidnaps Beats, and then they leave. Bardock never makes it to Vampa. Instead, 2 Saiyan pods are sent to Vampa. One contains more supplies. The other contains Baby Goku, or he's 3 at that. So yeah, Baby Goku. 3-year-old Kakarot, who is now on Vampa, who is now has to look to Paragus and Beats and Broly as his adopted family now, with very little remembrance of Bardock and the life he had beforehand, just because that's what happened in canon. You move forward from there. There's a bit of time that goes by where Broly and Kakarot get to live as kids and kind of enjoy each other's company. Paragus still trains Broly. He has no real interest in training Kakarot. Kakarot has to start getting stronger just to get his own food. He has to be able to kill a Vampa beetle just to eat. So that's what happened for them for a while. Finally, the thing with Raditz and Goku and Vegeta and them needing with Vegeta and Raditz and Nappa needing another Saiyan on their team to help them out, it starts happening faster because of what happened with Bardock here. Bardock didn't arrive to Vampa for a really serious reason. Not just because he stands up to Frieza, he's a Saiyan elite who stands up to Frieza. He's a Saiyan elite who has power, who has allies who stands up to Frieza. So it's Bardock and the original team Bardock who go after Frieza, and they actually take a good number of soldiers out. So, Frieza ends the whole okay, the Saiyans have been wiped out thing with not just these 3 can stay, they're fine. It's more these 3 can stay, but if they get wiped out in the next few missions I plan for them, that's also fine. So the next few missions they go through, just as that younger group, so it's not even Prime Vegeta or Strongest Vegeta we get in the beginning of the series. So it's a bit of a stronger Raditz because his dad was a Saiyan elite in this timeline. And Nappa, they're taking on way harsher missions, barely surviving. The 2 Saiyans we saw them with in the flashback in the Broly movie, I say they die. So after that happens, really early on, they need more help. Somehow I have Raditz realized that, Kakarot was sent to Vampa, I'll go there. Same contrivance as you use for it happened with the Minus storyline, because nobody ever tells him directly, like, where Kakarot is going. He travels to Vampa, makes it there, ship is broken and stuff like that, so he's going to need help to get off the planet anyway. Explains the situation with another ship that they can, like, use the main floater from. They basically strip all the parts from, like, the sand pods they had, the old ship they had, make a new ship. They return to Frieza, join Vegeta's squad. They go to planet Kanasa to complete that mission. And that is where something happens with Paragus realizing, oh, Prince Vegeta is still alive. I want you dead. Broly, come here. And he like tells him, like, hey, as we attack this planet, I want you to go into Grade 8. You say never going to Grade 8. Cool. I want you to go into Grade 8. Make sure you do it around Vegeta. All right. Goes into Grade 8, loses control of it. Him and Vegeta start fighting in the middle of Kanasa. They basically end up like burying themselves under rubble and knocking each other out. So as the like mission raid is complete, Vegeta and Broly are just knocked out. There's no scouter to like sense them anymore. So Kakarot's like, damn, my brother's dead. And they leave because they just can't find Vegeta and Broly. They're still knocked out. Part 2 opens with those two climbing out of that rubble and being attacked by Frieza soldiers who were sent to kind of finish off any Saiyans that might be remaining on the battlefield after that. Because Frieza is like effectively trying to wipe out any Saiyans who are just too weak to continue in his army. And if he just wipes out Vegeta and Nappa in that, or Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz, or all these Saiyans, he doesn't care. They come, they talk smack to Vegeta and Broly, like, oh, Lord Frieza said he'll give us a bonus if like we bring back some Saiyan corpses, so we're here to do that. They start fighting. These two are still tired, so they need help. Ends up being the warrior Kanasan Tulo, who is injured during this fight, and he's like not at 100%, but he hidden himself away at some point because he realized like this is way too big a threat for me to actually deal with. But I see the like tides of the future changing. There may be something I can do here. He steps in because he thinks if I can take these two and turn them against Frieza, maybe we can do something. Because that Grade 8 power they just showed was the strongest thing I've ever seen. So steps in, saves those two, offers to help them, rebel against Frieza by teaching them things that they probably didn't know. Like he can teach them how to sense ki if need be, better ways of fighting. And he becomes the cornerstone of this rebellion that grows and grows and grows and grows. And that's very, very important because if you have a leader who can see the future, it's going to be really easy to be a rebellion, even as a ragtag group. You know where the strongest of the strong are going to be. You know what might happen after that point. So it's really easy to plan and strategize around all this stuff. It's a really big reason as to why, even with all the resources and like the disadvantages they had, the rebels up to this point have been able to push the Frieza Force. So what Tulo does to get Broly and Vegeta out of that is he bestows the future sight onto King Cold. And King Cold is going to use that as the law of, it's a betting game to King Cold now. As he gets it and he's like realizing what the power does, he keeps noticing the future keeps changing as time moves on, and he's realizing, oh, the future keeps going into moving into a state where the Saiyans have won because they're healing, and their chances of like getting stronger and defeating me increase as they heal. Therefore, just by the property of that, if I stack all the odds against me, all the futures I see will be of me. So I'll just stack the odds against them. I'll win the bet. He goes off, he bides his time, he licks his wounds, and he wants to start collecting people who can improve his power. Not just make more soldiers for him, because like weak soldiers aren't going to do anything. His is the only power he can really do anything with. So he first sets a course. He sets a course for where Frieza was defeated to pick up Frieza's dead body. He then goes back to like whatever Frieza planet he's controlling, where Kikino is, and he starts gathering people. The original script time skips from here, and we don't know what happens from there. Everybody's on Vampa, the whole thing with them meeting King Kai and everything, that happens. Flashback to King Cold. We see a small hooded figure being led through a Frieza base by Kikino. They arrive into a room with two healing chambers. One has the dead body of Frieza in it, the other has the dead body of King Cold in it. They are connected. As he enters, King Cold says, "Ah, the great wizard Bobby. Remove your cloak. You are among friends here." It's like, okay, cool. Wizard Bobby's like, all right, what's up with this? I'm here. This would be a time when he is not with Deborah, because if he was at this point, he would have probably really easily just went to Earth and taken back Boo. He doesn't do that, so we know he doesn't have Deborah with him at this point. So Bobity's at a point where his henchmen are either really, really weak or no henchmen at all, I would assume. Cole explains what his plan is. He is gathering the greatest minds scientifically and magically in the universe. Bobity is the descendant of the creator of Boo, even though they don't know that. And some of the other people here are Kikino, his head scientist, and one person I don't mention until later in that script of who his name actually is. But it ends up being Dr. Mew, somebody who actually has a grudge against the Saiyans. And what he does by putting all these people together is he just wants them to improve his power in any way that doesn't involve him having to train. He does not want to train. It's something that he finds so beneath him. I love the idea of him being like, I want to be hands-on, but I'm not going to demean myself to doing what those lowly monkeys do. So he starts putting all the magic, science, and Dr. Mew science into his body as he can. I also had one idea of maybe Dr. Mew and Bobity and them kind of coming together to make their own version of the Big Getty Star, because if you do it like maybe organic magic, I don't know how you do it. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm just trying to think like Cold, trying to get involved. That's all got some interesting stuff to it. I'm just trying to, to me, I feel like you might be spending too much time in the setup, whereas if this is part 4 and you just ended with this big very Star Wars moment with the end of Empire kind of thing, where there's a bit of a victory in failure kind of moment. Part of me just, again, I'm just stuck on the idea of Cold just showing up and maybe making instead of training, maybe just he's mastered the future sight to just an insane degree where he could just almost on Ultra Instinct level, where he just knows what's going to happen, and so he just keeps oh, this might actually be better, because then you don't have to worry about justifying Cole being stronger than Broly if he can just avoid every attack Broly throws at him and just set Broly up to always end up every swing he misses hits one of his allies. Every attack that is thrown at Cold hits Broly instead. And so Cold's just, toying with all of them because he has such a masterful control of the future sight thing. I think that might be the more interesting direction. And I don't know, I'm always... I've got two modes. I've got either, no, spend forever setting it up, 50 parts just for the setup, like that Todd McFarlane level, or I'm just nah, just get into the good shit. Just go straight to the cool stuff. Just jump right into it. Is kind of the area that I sit in. And so using the ability to see the future and, through the Frost Demon I guess the Frost Demons are kind of savants or prodigies, where they just perfectly understand key control and stuff to this just insane degree, kind of inherently. The future sight was meant to be a handicap, but all it's done is just make him better in a way that is even more unpredictable than the future aliens could see or could have believed. Giving Cold future sight just and having him use it on almost that Ultra Instinct level of it doesn't matter if you're stronger than me. If you can never touch me because I know exactly where you're going to go, then I can still win. And I think that could be a more interesting thing. And the funny thing about that is, I don't know how to write you out of that situation, but man, that's a really interesting situation to write your characters into.
I definitely love that. My only issue with it would be, I still need some way to increase Cold's power, because Dragon Ball always works at some level of relativity. It doesn't matter if you can also, yeah, the best way to explain it is the Sharingan with Rock Lee thing. Okay, Sasuke is overall stronger than Rock Lee. In the first meeting though, he tries to use the Sharingan on him, And basically, it becomes like a handicap because you're seeing what I'm about to do to you, but your body is way too slow to react to me doing it to you. So you're watching me punch you in the face before I punch you in the face, way slower than it was actually going to happen for you. If you just watch it with your normal eyes, you would have just been looking at me, and then like you're in the sleep, and that's just it. You just okay. All right, I hit.
Well, maybe that's actually the move. Then is just like let Cold think he can go into this fight, and let him do work for a good long while. Let Cold think he can go into this fight with just having this future sight mastered, and then like just when they're all kind of like busted out and so exhausted and you know just at their wits end, they're just, you know, someone says, "Oh, I can't believe what is this power? How'd you do it?" And then have Cold just explain what he's doing. He's like, you can see everything they're about to do, and then that gives them the realization. Just be like, "Oh, so you're not any stronger? I don't need to be stronger." And then that's where they just like start breaking through that limit of like getting to that point of it doesn't matter if you can see it coming. We'll be too fast for you to do anything about it. Because I think that could work with the idea that Cold would find training distasteful. I think that's got some interesting notions to it. It's like to him taking the amount of time he did to master the future sight to this level was already effort enough. They didn't deserve for him to sweat to deal with them. He thought that like he's got that ego thing enough that he thinks he can just, if he can just master this gambit that they put on him, then that should be enough and it shouldn't matter. And for that kind of hubris to ultimately be what backfires on him. So you don't need to buff up King Cold strength-wise. You can just say that like the Z fighters, once they know, or the rebels, I guess would be the R fighters, once they know what Cold's doing, then they can push past that limit and start to break him.
I don't dislike that. One issue I'd have with doing it that way, part of Cold gathering all these people, it's going to be a definite setup for whatever's going to happen in Part 5, which I hope will be either the end of it or Part 6 will be the end of the story. The other issue I have with that would still be the idea of, even if Cold is like so good with it that it doesn't matter if he was stronger than anybody at that point, just by the rules of Dragon Ball, it couldn't work. Because like at some point somebody's gonna get a lucky hit, and it's like, okay, we've been trained this whole time thinking you were getting stronger, so like I'm overestimating you in the first place. I hit you, like, okay, Cold's head just flew off. Well, what are we doing? He couldn't dodge it. Like I hit him too hard.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, because like the Frieza race, like think about all the shit that like happened to Frieza. That dude got cut up into little itty-bitty tiny pieces, and yet like he was still able to be alive.
Well, I love the idea of like recognizing that the Frieza race is very, very doable, because they definitely are. Like Frieza just survives a lot of hellish punishment just in the Namek Saga. He is able to be saved by Goku with just like a bit of energy. That was going to be enough to get him off planet. He could have went and lived his life. He was fine then. The thing with him being revived in Resurrection F and being alive in like tiny, tiny pieces, I think him being like alive in that state was only because Shenron had just
I get what you're saying. I'm just like, I don't know. I think that Cold. I think that the Cold race, their whole thing is they're the royalty of the galaxy. They're just better than the common riffraff, and I think that you could have him go into the fight and just be so confident in that with this one little gimmick, that's all he needs to completely dust on him. And then for the second that gimmick is known, kind of like I guess for the example I'll use is the hit fight in Super, where like if Goku had just kept his fucking mouth shut about how he figured out what Hit was doing, he would have won the fight instantly, but Goku couldn't help himself and just like told Hit that he knew what he was doing, and then so Hit started to change up his game. I think that you play with a similar thing there, where it's like the gimmick in Dragon Ball is there, and it's always very exploitable until the characters know it. Because if they're just if they're going after Cold and they're assuming that he's gotten stronger, I think that's more interesting than just your typical, yeah, Cold just got stronger. You could, if you want to, you could do the extra forms, or you could do the other stuff. I think it's more unique. I think it's a stronger thing. I think it's more interesting and more fun if it's just Cold suddenly gets a gimmick and then assumes that makes him even better than that. He assumes it takes him from being a king to being a god because he's got a gimmick now. I'm kind of imagining that like Cold's like, all right, first I'm going to deal with this little rebellion that gave me this gift by mistake. Then I'm going to go start knocking on Beerus's door, because now no one can touch me. Kind of thing. Like he doesn't even think the power matters anymore now that he's got this, because he just thinks it's so OP. I think that like you play with that.
I'd love to do that. It just wouldn't work because like the Kanasans saw them about to die. Like they knew like, okay, the Saiyans are too strong for us. That's even something like Tulo said. I even have him say in the script. This power is not a gift. It is the ability to see the horror of your end. So in that sense, if there's a power difference, Cold has to be aware of that as well. It wouldn't work that way.
The power to see the horrors of your end and travel back in time.
I don't know if he said that at the end. but the thing you said about making this very, very different, that's something I like, because there is an idea I've had about that. I'll get into the other big part of this that was gonna be kind of a spoiler. You see me kind of put the picture of the Dragon Ball Multiverse version of Cold's other forms here. I did that because one idea I had was, okay, well, Cold should also kind of learn from Frieza's mistake. Frieza's mistake was he took Goku way too lightly. He had more potential he could have tapped into that he just didn't. Because I don't have to deal with you seriously. Okay, cool. I can be the supreme being in the universe. But there could be a second supreme who might challenge me one day. And if I'm not firing off at full throttle and the second supreme beats me because I'm not going out all out, was I really the supreme one? Cold should like really easily be able to learn from that idea. Like, okay, because Frieza does. Frieza doesn't like fight in first form and second form anymore. Like, no, I don't need to do that anymore. I know there are bigger threats out there. I'm not going to waste my time doing that anymore. So if Cold has that ability or can find that ability somewhere, I think that's definitely something he should exploit. I'd also like to do that because it is still the mistake Frieza makes in the sense of, okay, but you're just going for raw power at this point. That's what Cold makes the issue with. He's not putting any heart or soul into his betterment. It is strictly just, I am attempting to stack the odds against my opposition so I win the game. You are not looking at this as a battle between life and death. You're not looking at this as a battle to keep your comrades alive, the way that Broly and Vegeta and the opposition are. This is very diametrically opposed in this situation. One person, though, that is kind of like Cold, who just kind of wants to get stronger at this point, who just kind of wants to live his life on his own terms and do it the way he wants to do, is the boy, our wild card, our Kakarot. An idea I had for their like first kind of go-to after reaching Vampa was, okay, we have to power up. Like really obviously we have to power up. What avenues do we have to power up? Well, Broly has his Ikari form. That served him pretty well so far, but after all the years of them being in the Rebels together, Broly was never able to get Vegeta to learn the same ability. So it would seem the reason that you can't teach it to other people, or at least we have not been able to yet. We could continue to try and elaborate on Kakarot's Super Saiyan abilities, but they don't. I'll actually make this bigger. They don't seem to be growing at the level we need them to if what we think is about to happen is really about to happen. So we need something drastic. So Broly gets the idea of like, okay, Kakarot, you still have your tail. Let's try and mix Super Saiyan and Ozaru. It's a really obvious thing we can try and do. Kakarot wants no part in that. He doesn't want to use Ozaru. He likes Super Saiyan way more. It's something he wants to kind of like further and try and train in. But Broly's like, listen, it's not about what we want at this point. It's about what we do to win the war and get ourselves the freedom we've been fighting for this entire time. So it's, you have to, justify the means to the ends. I'm trying to be a mentor to you, little brother. I'm not trying to like be harsh on you. So we now set up the impotence of Kakarot needing to learn how to control both Ozaru, because he's a low-class Saiyan, he never figured out how to do that, or at least, born high class, he just never learned how to do it. And I don't think just being an elite gives you perfect control over it. Like, it seems like something you probably have to master, because apparently Nap could do it as well, and he was like way weaker than Vegeta. So, and he was also, I think, he was mid class as well. I don't think he was actually considered a Saiyan elite. And what else I got to say? While I'm
While you're thinking, I was going to say, Mr. Michael Law 2011 gave $2 through Super Chat. Said, "I'm here lurking and wanted to say, what's up, guys?"
I love Mr. Michael Law.
You?
He's so nice. He's
Thanks, homie. What a Chad.
He is a Chad. Whole ass Chad. Oh yeah, here's the idea I had. So Goku now has an issue where he has to learn how to use Ozaru, and there's gonna be a really big dichotomy about that because he's been trying to like kind of treating Vegeta, who is like set up very much like Dragon Ball Sai Vegeta in this story. He was taken out of the Frieza Force at a young age, given a much more friendly and loving environment to kind of grow in. So he's not just like goody two-shoes Vegeta, but he's like way better, more ahead than Kakarot is at this point from like getting out of the Saiyan mindset. Him and Broly are much more one mind. After the death of Tulo, Vegeta's whole thing is, damn it, how did I let that happen? It's not just, damn, I was too weak for that. It's actual like character there. It's not just, well, I'm too weak for this, you know? He's been treating Vegeta kind of poorly. In fact, when Vegeta first sees him use Super Saiyan when they're on Vampa, because they're kind of like just arriving, Kakarot's just getting back on his feet. He's testing his powers. He's kind of antsy. Vegeta stops him because he's about to fight him. Like as he bursts into Super Saiyan, he's like, whoa, teach me how to do that. It's not even just like, oh, Kakarot, yeah, it's none of that. It's just show me. I need to do that so we can get stronger. Kakarot just hauls off and punches him. He's like, I'm not teaching you anything. I don't care about this. This is my power. After this happens, Broly and Kakarot train for a bit. That's why you see the thumbnails like that. Broly is pretty much just whooping up on Kakarot to try and get him angry enough to learn Ikari at one point because Kakarot just doesn't want to learn Great Ape. Broly finally goes, this is not working. You have to learn Great Ape. I'm sorry. Go ask Vegeta and Taro how to control it. So the thing he just did, which kind of like severed that link with Vegeta, he has to go and pay the price for that. Kind of prostrate himself in front of Vegeta like, hey, I'm sorry about that. Will you please teach me how to do it? Doesn't say it exactly like that. It's wagered like that, so you see more of Vegeta's character kind of come out with Vegeta, which kind of really earnestly just showing him how to, or telling him how the Great Ape transformation was like controlled, and Kakarot really begrudgingly showing Vegeta how, or telling Vegeta how to become a Super Saiyan, which he basically just tells him, okay, you want to become a Super Saiyan? First of all, you gotta die, and then not die, but be so angry that you come back as a ghost. That's how you become Super Saiyan. And then Vegeta just being smart is like, okay, it sounds like you're saying get to the edge of death, and then do something with a Zenkai maybe? And Kakarot's like, alright, yeah, that's fine. So, after that, these two part ways, Kakarot goes back to finish his training with Broly, where he's going to attempt to learn the Super Saiyan state and stack it into his Ozaru state. He's first going to learn how to control Ozaru. Meanwhile, Vegeta takes Taro aside, and he's like, okay, I think I have a way to deal with this. Taro was like, alright, what is that? We're going to go fight in space and try and learn how to breathe in space. Well, Saiyans can't survive in space. Right, but we got to die as well, so like two birds with one stone. Why are we doing this? Okay, well, Taro, listen. The biggest issue with cold was he kept trying to crack the planet so we couldn't breathe. If we can find a way to fight in space, we take away his biggest weapon. So you see Vegeta's intelligence as a leader, you see his intelligence as a fighter, you see his emotional intelligence in that situation where he just like doesn't get provoked by Kakarot, and he starts training on that. Something what to come from that is Vegeta maybe learning Super Saiyan and then learning a way to encase the air around him with the Super Saiyan aura so he can fight in space for a while. Meanwhile, Goku goes off and starts learning Ozaru. He finally gets after a few days or a few weeks, whatever you want to do. Now it's time to try and stack it or stack Super Saiyan on top of it. That's much harder. As he does that, the kind of like primal pull of Ozaru is going to take Kakarot over a bit more. And what I want to happen from there is to just have a very ominous, and on that day, all life disappeared from planet Vampa. So the next part of the story opens up with King Cold getting ready to mount his attack and reestablish his dominance on the world. He looks different a bit. He has his, whatever army he's going to use. He's just ready. He's ready to go. As he's getting ready to go, power levels like start appearing. Something's going on. The rebels are here. And with them appears Broly, who is riding on top of Golden Graded Uzaru, or Golden Uzaru Kakarot, who is pretty much in this feral state. And the only person he's really listening to at this point is his older brother, Broly. Broly has taken it upon himself to kind of control Kakarot and kind of just be his mount throughout this, or his rider, so he can keep him from hurting any of their allies. And
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, they're going to use him as like a nuke pretty much. So as that happens, you have your code, doing everything you want him to do. He's really going to be really strong against this first assault. Like, it's not going to do much against him. Broly, through trying to train Kakarot, does not spend enough time training himself. If he just did that, maybe he would have been able to do it, but he can't. Vegeta isn't able to do it. Golden Gray Goku isn't able to do it. Maybe you even have him knocked out, so he's just like, Finally, something happens to where, I think I'll go ahead and put it in. We need appear, insert, upload from computer. No, boom, there it is. And the transformation we're probably all assuming is going to happen finally happens, leading to Kakarot gaining this very, very good looking Super Saiyan 4 form. Part of why I really want to reach this is just because it looks so good in the Sai outfit with this color scheme. Another part of why I want to really reach this is I want this to be Goku's new main form in this. And one idea I had, this is kind of as far as I've ever gotten with the story in terms of just thinking, is Goku reaching this state and then going off to deal with King Cold. But from here, we've already called Goku the wild card. We've already said he's very much like Namek Saga Vegeta.
That's so good.
We've already said a lot of things about him. So I would really like for either two things to happen. Either Kakarot takes out Cold, or he does it like in one shot. Maybe it's a battle off screen. Maybe a lot of the other characters are like talking about him, like, oh, he's gotten so strong. Broly is like, I'm so proud of my little brother, something like that. The battle's over, and then Kakarot looks at Broly and goes, Broly, it's time for the spar you promised me. We've been training this whole time. Broly, it's time for the spar you promised me. I want you to fight me at full power. You. It's like, dog, we're like, we're tired. What are you doing? Like, this is the wrong time for this. I either want that to take place with a Kakarot that is completely of sound mind, or I want to just write Z Broly, but it's Kakarot, so it's like the exact opposite, where like his eyes are blank and he's yelling Broly, just yelling Broly. And then I want what happens from there to be Broly's like, I just created the bigger monster. He's my little brother. He's gonna kill my comrades. What happened? Vegeta steps up. Vegeta, through his new mastery of that Super Saiyan state, where he can kind of like fly in space for a bit, he takes Kakarot up to fight in space. Kakarot can't breathe. He ends up passing out. Vegeta brings him back down. He has not left the Super Saiyan 4 state. And Broly's just like, I don't know what to do with him. He's not changing. He's not becoming like a good dude anymore. He's stuck in the ways of Frieza, and I don't know what to do with him. The Galactic Patrol show up, and they offer to lock up Kakarot in exchange for like the rebels just becoming a part of the Galactic Patrol. So we end up with part 5 starting with our Kakarot locked in Galactic Prison. That's
a freaking
I love it. And I want the thumbnail to be him with like the orange jumpsuit. So like replacing this, like the Psy outfit, because it's kind of time he got out of his Frieza Force clothing anyway. Replacing that, and he's just like locked up like this, just like knocked out. I want that to be the thumbnail so bad. But that's as far as I've gotten with this story in terms of concept.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting direction to take it, where Kakarot kind of becomes the unwitting villain. Trapping him in Super Saiyan 4 is kind of like, I think, a really good way to achieve that. Especially because he was like kind of forced into it there, and he didn't have like the same kind of connection that GT Goku does with Pan. To like kind of give him his heart back in that form. So I think that's kind of interesting to keep that really primal, like kind of evil Saiyan nature there in Super Saiyan 4. I think that's a really cool move. Having him be the prisoner of the Galactic Patrol is kind of interesting. I'm trying to think of like what you really do with with where to
that's
go
where
with it
I've
from
gotten
there.
really stuck, is where to go from there. I've had ideas of okay, maybe Beerus and Whis still end up getting into the Terminal Destroyers. They need like strong fighters.
Well, I mean, if you got him in the galactic prison, you got Moro like right there.
You do have Moro like right there.
Like that'd be my temptation, is do something with Moro early, especially with like a Super Saiyan 4, because like you can definitely make the argument that that Moro just completely eclipses him at that point, and that's kind of interesting if you introduce Moro way earlier than he's supposed to be. I think that's kind of a fun one. I don't know where you go with it from there, but I think that's really cool. That just seems like a really good opportunity.
I thought of Moro. There's a lot you can do with Moro too, because like his place in the story doesn't come until, I've said this is happening around like the Namek Saga, or where that would be happening in the main timeline. So Moro is like maybe 20 years after that almost. So you have so much time to like have a long ass time skip. Like, oh, Goku's been like asleep for 10 years. He's just now waking up. He's just now like gaining enough like mental faculty to like have pupils again.
I don't think you even need to do that. I think it's more interesting if you just like, you just woke up like, maybe a week later or something, and you just I like doing busted shit like that. Like there's no way that they should be able, like, you ever heard of the comic run? It's called the Commandi Challenge.
Commandi Challenge.
I wouldn't expect you to, but it was like a really interesting 12-issue series that DC did, where every issue had a different writer, different artist, and like the artists were all doing great comic book artist stuff. Like just the pitch of it is like just this ballsy ass premise that I've really loved, and maybe we should do like this completely different thing. Maybe we should do like a what if series like this. But anyway, the pitch of it was, you take the character Commandi, who's like the last human or whatever, and you put him in a situation, you put him in a story, he gets through the story, and then at the end, it ends with a cliffhanger. And you as the writer do not know what happens to get him out of this cliffhanger situation. And then another writer has to come on to do the next issue and get him out of it before they can tell their story. And like, I think there's something like really, really ballsy and really, really cool about that, and just like push yourselves to those heights of like just fucking so now Moro's involved, and he's Moro's still stays at his base power that he's introduced at in the Moro saga, but now it's 20 years earlier and no one's even close to it. Like the closest is Broly, and Broly isn't exactly the Ultra Instinct type to be able to take on Moro. So you just fucking do it. Don't worry about how you're going to get out of it. That's when you get creative and get interesting and start to do those really like cool, crazy things. Like that's my temptation. Just always go big. Just like that's where your part 5 starts. It's just Kakarot had been in prison for about a week now. He was plotting an escape, so he started to ask other prisoners who was willing to go in on it with him. And a goat man said he would be right there with him. And I'm just like,
I don't mind that idea. Ooh. Part of me has gone so many different ways where I want to go from like here. Because I remember I had one conversation with Ox Nagadava where I was saying like, oh well, we have Mew and Babidi, so like what if after Cold fails, I just like, okay, like let's go deal with that boot thing, because I like Mew still wants the Saiyans dead, and Babidi at that point really just wants like a strong person that he can like put the universe into subjugation with. Like the first thing he does when he starts trying to help Cold power up in this is he goes pada pada pa and does all that. But Cold basically just powers out and was like, oh no, I knew what you're gonna do. I just didn't let you take over my mind. I'll take the power boost. Thank you so much. But like you're not controlling me. So the immediate idea I had to that, like, oh okay, let's make Baby Boo or something like that. So that maybe the big bad is Baby Boo, and maybe Kakarot is posed as the hero against that character because he's been in prison. He's been the only character that like he couldn't get to at that point. So maybe somebody comes in like, yo, we're in trouble, we need your help. The idea or the issue I would have with that is, do I want Kakarot's character arc to change so quick? What changes Kakarot in that situation? What's happening that like would make him even want to like help people out? Like, okay, sure, you can put Broly in danger, but like, should his loyalty still be with Broly at that point? Should he be like, oh, Broly put me in jail? Should I even like Broly anymore?
I think you just, Kakarot being alongside with Moro, and fucking like he's just he's just doing it because he's trying to get like that fight out of Broly, and then you just have Moro doing his thing where he's planning to like take over the whole world, and he's just treating Kakarot like one of those minions in his own saga, or take out the whole universe. Sorry, and he's just treating Kakarot like one of those minions in his own saga. And you just have, oh man, this would be so hype. You have like Kakarot, he's just doing it because he wants the fight with Broly. In the previous part, he doesn't get the fight with Broly that he wants, and so now he's going like he's a little crazy. The power, like, because even Goku's even says like once he gets that strong, it's hard for him to like maintain himself. So like the power is just completely gone to his head, and he doesn't really know what to do with Super Saiyan 4, especially being like locked into it like you have him. And so he's just like, yeah, I'll team up with anyone if it means I get my fight with Broly. I've wanted this fight my whole life, and now he's denying it for me. So I want it now. I want it. And so he's willing to do anything, and then so you get the fight with Broly, and like in the most like sour kind of like disappointing way where it's not what either of them really want, and all the meanwhile Moro's just going on unchecked. So like you finally get the fight with Broly, and then when it ends, that's where like Kakarot finally gets his senses back, is when he realizes everything that he did and who he helped to get this. And that's when he comes back around in order to go take on Moro. I don't know, it's crazy, but like that would just be hype as shit to me, I'm not gonna lie.
Kakarot should just fight himself some bitches, honestly.
Right,
Yeah,
like we always talk about radicalizing little kids, but we gotta be radicalizing bitches.
What?
Have you not seen? Wait, have you not seen the actual like original like TikTok that came from?
It sounds familiar.
Bro, wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm hijacking this. You need to go radicalize. I'm sorry, I have to go and move. Give me the TikTok. I'm so serious. Please. Oh, thank God.
Is currently streaming Among Us on Twitch to try to radicalize little kids.
Dog, go radicalize some bitches. What the fuck is you talking about?
Bro, go radicalize some bitches. What the fuck are you talking? It's too good. It's the perfect comeback to anything. I've said it so much. Whew.
The thing's just catching up to. It's working well.
Go radicalize some bitches.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
I love it so much. Oh God.
Oh god, that's so funny.
Oh Lord.
It is 10, y'all.
It is.
Yeah,
you didn't get to do your pitch, but that's fine. If you guys are ready to leave off for this one, guys, this was amazing actually.
That was stupid.
Yeah, it's super fun, guys. Thanks so much for helping out with mine. I'm glad I got to throw some crazy ideas and be like, no, do this. Fuck that. Do the crazy thing. Do the crazy thing. Oh. All right. Catch you guys later, man.
All right, man. Thanks so much for coming out.
I'm gonna kick out. Have fun.
Good night. See ya.
Well, guys. Yeah, we'll get ready for the kind of sign off part of it. Thank you all so much. I think we didn't drop below 30 viewers this entire stream. Personally, for me on my channel, I don't think I've ever done that. I think I've like had highs of like something like that, but usually by the end of the stream, we're usually around like 20 or so like that. This was really good. Also, just like I think the format of this one was way better. I do want to try and do something next one where I think we're trying to interrupt the chat a bit more. If you guys have like some ideas you have that you want to kind of expand on, like I saw Ace the Wind Rider talked about Goku not existing in the Dragon Ball world at some point. How does that affect the characters? That would have been a fun one to kind of expand on for just a little bit, maybe like 20 minutes to do so or so. But I think this was way better than the first one we did. How about you, Smug?
Yeah, no, I think we were a lot more structured and everybody participated a little more.
Yeah. But you can expect to see the next Just Imagine What If live stream on Geeks for Fun's channel next Wednesday around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I don't know if we'll be having any more guests come on. The way we're going to be doing that is if one of us just can't make it to the podcast or I keep saying podcast, the stream that day, we're going to have a designated sub that can come in and just like, hey, tag out, you jump in, because we think these people are, good enough at coming up with what if ideas and hashing them out enough to where they could do that. In fact, now that we've done this, I really want to get Ox Nagadaba on for one to just eviscerate everyone's ideas one day. No, he won't do that. But this went really, really well. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Smug, thank you for coming out. Geeks, thank you for sharing the content on your Twitter page and all that stuff, and just being a part of the project in general. Thank you to SydPart2, aka Ian. You guys were just amazing. All of you. Thank you so much. And I think that's enough for us to sign out. Thank you guys so much.
See y'all,
and,
dog.
Yeah, see you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, dog.
Oh, also, wait. Make sure you like the stream, leave a comment, and subscribe to all 3 channels. Do that. All right. Okay.